Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Well, had a huge day Thursday. Friday wasn't really bad, but it was my locks that got caught. Saturday had a huge day. Hit two locks, and then yesterday hit my lock. So overall, it was a very successful weekend. We just had a blip on Friday, and as Ron said, it hurts the bank. Like Friday hurt, but then we you don't stop playing. The games are there. The picks are good, and then you have a big day Saturday and a big day Sunday, and it makes up for the one weekday. So that's why you keep in the bankroll, and you maybe bet. So a $5,000 bankroll, you're betting, let's say, $200 a game or $100 a game, because I'm betting a lot of games. But I actually went 12-3 in college with my losers on Friday. And then yesterday in the pros, I hit everything, but didn't hit everything. I lost Tampa over, and again, it was by 1 point, but it doesn't matter. And I lost Atlanta over. Then I won New Orleans under. I won Houston under. I won. My lock was the Niners under. Should have locked Seattle under, but I had them. And then I had my lock. My other part of the lock was Denver, which I had played with Philly. So Philly really cost me. I had Philly with Alabama, Philly with Denver, which both won. But that's okay. And tonight I played New England Giants over 40. The Giants have been scoring more, and Dart's back. They're not a good defense. The New England, I'm wondering what a good defense is anymore. I'm watching the Rams, Carolina, and the Rams defense doesn't do anything. Denver, Washington, and Denver's defense doesn't really do anything. I mean, they're making Mariota look good. I think it's just the new offenses. It's a lot of I was watching Steve Young on Carolina, and it was like a throw to the running back to the right, and he goes for 40 yards. He had on fourth down twice. He hit touchdowns on some decent passes, which were good, but he still can't read defenses, and he still gets sacked a lot, and then he still wants to run. So he's not a good quarterback, but they're doing better because they're running a lot, and they're running all these short passes. So everybody's taken what the Lions were using, these short little passes, this short little play action, and running more. And so now the game's kind of changed to a lot more running, and the defenses aren't set up for it yet. So initially you couldn't run on these teams, and then they start putting 4 wide receivers out and spreading the field. And now the field's spread, and now they're saying, hey, we can run because the field's spread. So now they're going back to running. And so, the Calebs and the Steve Youngs still look like shit. CJ Stroud, they don't do anything. But Houston's got a feel on the defense. The Niners, that was an easy under. That should have been. I don't know. I don't think I could have got away from the Texas under. I could have got away, maybe from the Air Force. I don't know. The quarterback's going to change. But those are the two. Those are the two locks. Was the Texas, which if A&M just kicks a field goal, that's over. I mean, they're down 10, so they'll kick a field goal to get down 7, and the guy throws the interception at the goal line. So if he just plays normally, and we kick the field goal, then we get the over. So I can't bitch about Texas A&M over too badly. The Philadelphia lock, I don't know how you get away from that. At home, even off of a loss. I mean, that was, and they were taking it. If they didn't do the stupid push tush and fumble the ball, they're at the 10-yard line going in. Again, the play call on third down to get to 4th and 1, I don't know what it was. I wasn't watching. That's the one I can't really do much about. I go 10-1 in my, or 9-1 in my 10-team teaser. So a guy questioned me, like he didn't believe me, and I hate when because I don't lie, so I hate when I don't get believed. And the guy says, I said, well, I told him about the 10-team teaser, and he's like, oh, you can't pick 10 winners. I go, I do it a lot. I picked 15 winners, which is what led me to my talk yesterday. And it was exactly what did I do in college? 12-3, and I'm probably 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, 5-3, 6-3, 7-3, 8-3. So yesterday I was probably I was 5-2. And again, the smaller bets, Atlanta and the Jets was a small bet, and the Tampa over. They were both small bets. They weren't big ones. The big ones, Seattle, San Francisco, Houston, and Denver won. So it's not even you can't even look at it as I'm what 8-3. You can't even look at that. It's the big ones. The Cincinnati over, the Dallas over, the Green Bay were bigger bets than the Tampa and the Jets. And again, had it been one schedule, I probably would not have played the Jet game under, but it probably should have went under, but I don't know. I did lay away from the Ram Carolina game, which was good boy, although it did go way over. See, this is the problem. I'm looking at the Rams with the 15 defense. I'm going, well, Carolina won't score much, and the Rams will score on Carolina. They got a weak defense, but what's the value of the defense? It's a 15 defense. Now for Houston, they play a lot of under games. The Niners, Cleveland plays a lot of under games with their defense and no offense. So it becomes, I like the last play of the Cleveland game. It's 4th and 20, and they're getting killed, and Prime runs for 10 yards. Like, what you didn't want to throw an interception. No, I won't throw the interception. What an idiot. But that's the thing. I mean, Green Bay with the 15 defense, the Lions scored 24. Philly with the 17 defense gives up 24, which isn't bad, but they stopped scoring. They didn't score on the 27 defense of the Bears. The Rams give up 31 with their 15 defense. Miami with the 19 defense. That's why I played that game under. I like that was a good play. Under 47, they played a 38. Houston with the 19 and Indy with the 21, and we get an under game. But again, Houston wins another 12-0 in a teaser. Cleveland and Frisco were 20 defenses, and it was windy and cold there, and 26-8, so 34, and we're under 40. We're under 42, 43, I think, because we bet it early. Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle with the 20 defense, but Minnesota had the new quarterback. And that was my conversation with my friend, with this guy. Well, he's not really my friend. He's just another bettor. And he says, well, I didn't like the line. It was too high. It was 12. I said, how about the under? It's 41.5, 42. Let's go under 48. They'll never get there because Minnie's got a good defense, but they don't have a quarterback. And Seattle's got a good defense. So Seattle will get the lead and then just run the ball and kill the clock and win as they did. I think I predicted like 34-0 or whatever. And, he doesn't look at totals. I don't know how anybody can bet football and not look at totals. It's the easiest bet on the board 99 times out of 100. Now, his thesis was the team that wins covers 85% of the time. Like, that's supposed to be a big deal. And, well, how do you know who to bet on, though? See, the statistic is empty. After the game's over, let's look who won, and they covered. Well, that didn't happen in the Denver game. Denver won, didn't cover, but they did in our teaser. And let's see. There was another one. Miami won and didn't cover. Uh, let's see. Tampa won. It was a push. Um, but it's such a stupid thing. It's so stupid and meaningless. So if the dog wins, they cover. But how does that help you betting the game? We're looking for edges to bet that'll make us more money, and that is not all that says is okay. So I said to him, "So you why don't you bet Seattle then? You know they're going to win because Minnesota's starting this quarterback who sucked in college." Oh no, I don't like to lay that many points, but you just said the winner's going to cover, and Seattle won and covered. So who cares what the line is? Oh, I don't like to lay points. Why not? Don't the favorites win ever? I mean, the arguments used by this guy are so stupid. And I told him that. I said, these are the stupid arguments I've ever heard in my life. Or this closing line value. Okay, so if we look at it, Seattle was 10, went to 12. What value was that? Either you like Seattle because Minnesota's got the third string quarterback is much more meaningful than the line moved from 10 to 12. Of course it moved from 10 to 12 because they're starting the third string quarterback. I mean, I don't get this. If anybody's using this closing line value, stop. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It gives you got to know the teams, the offense, the defense. Do they need to win? Where in the formula, if you're doing formulas, does it say LA is traveling coast to coast? That's the key. God, these glasses. I get these little snow on there, and then I can't get them clean. So where does your formula say the Rams travel to Carolina, or somebody traveled West Coast, which was always a hard. The Lions never won on the West Coast for years. They'd go to the Niners, they'd go to the Rams, and they lose all the time. So where do you get this? So it doesn't really help you. Look at Washington. Well, there were 34 defense. They ended up giving 27 because the game went to overtime. Denver couldn't stop Mariota. I mean, it's crazy. And these running quarterbacks, the defenses are taking away the passing, and then you give up the run, and then the quarterback runs for 10 yards like he thinks he's doing something good. But overall takeaways. So Green Bay beats Detroit. Detroit, if they do get in the playoffs, forget about them, but I don't think they'll make it. I don't think they can beat the Bears. They're not going to beat Dallas. Now, here's my point with this guy. I said, I think Dallas is a better team than Detroit, should be a 3-point favorite. He doesn't hear that. He says, well, Detroit's the 3-point favorite. I says, I know they're the 3-point favorite. What I'm saying is, my line, Dallas is the 3-point favorite, which makes Dallas a live dog because they should be favored in the game and they're getting points. That was my point, but it went right over his head. If the teacher at the university didn't teach it to him, he doesn't want to hear. Then he gives me these quotes that are meaningless. This 85%, the team that wins covers, which is totally meaningless. I give him a stat. Houston's 11-0 in a teaser. Houston's 27-3 in a teaser. That's before the game. That's valuable. And then Houston wins the game, right? So in the teaser, they're getting 9.5. I actually didn't bet that. I bet the under 50, which was even better because I know it's hard to score on Houston, and C.J. Stroud stinks. And I'm not sure Daniel Jones is good, but I knew Houston would shut down Taylor. See, Indy's played a very weak schedule, so they look better than they are. Then they go to KC, and they didn't play him too bad. And then here Houston goes to Indy and shuts them down. And, they got to play another Houston. And they got Jacksonville this week. And I don't know who else they play, but is Indy that good? No. Now, New England, we're not sure. They're still playing shit teams. New England next week, I think, is off. Anyway, New England's got the bye next week. So anyway, so that was my point. That's why I make my own lines. Dallas should be the 3-point favorite. I know Detroit is. That's not the argument, but he didn't listen to me. I'll bet you. He looks at the line and says, "I'll bet you $1,000 that Detroit's a 3-point favorite." And this is the problem. This is the type of person he is, and this is why I don't deal with people like this. This is why I'm not friends with people like this. And then the real person jumps out. He sounded like my brother, and I hate my brother. And he goes, "Well, did the teaser help you?" Well, as soon as I heard that, I just, okay, fuck off. Goodbye. What do you mean, did the teaser help me? Yes, it helped me dramatically making the bet. I bet the Niners in a lock with Denver because of the teaser. Now, did we need it? No, because the Niners, it was 26-8, which is a 34, and the total on it, when I bet it was 36-37. And I teased it to 43. So now I can lock it at 43. If it's 36, I probably can't lock it, and I maybe bet it, but it's a much better bet at 42, 43. And the same thing with Denver. Denver even, or actually Denver plus a half a point, or +1 is a much better bet than laying 5 at Washington. I don't like laying 5 at Washington, the road game and everything. But even, they just got to win, and guess what? They just won. So the teaser is used before the bet. Would I bet these two games? You can see my whole theory is I bet the teaser. I can pick 9, 10 games. I'm 8-3. That's 11 games I picked, and I picked 8 right. And of the 8, I hit 3 locks. I lost the 1 lock. But I had like Cincinnati, that lock, and 2 teasers. Problem is I had Philadelphia in 2 teasers, so that kind of canceled. But then I hit the lock, the Niner under in Denver. But it's picking a lot of games. I'm going to pick a lot right. And that most people don't understand that. They want to bet 1 or 2 games. They don't understand bankroll. So with me, you want to bet like $100 a game or 300, 500, whatever your bankroll is per game, understanding you're going to bet a lot of games, understanding you're going to win a lot of the bets. You're going to win about 75% of the bets. So we go 12-3, and we go right now we're 8-3. So that's 20-6, which is more than 75%. Okay, that's the key. And so we win a lot, and we get a lot of double teasers, which means I pick one winner and it wins 2. Like I had the Niners in 2 teasers, Seattle in 2 teasers, Houston under in 2 teasers, and Denver in 2 teasers. So with 4 games, I win 8 teasers. That's, and then it's varying the amount. So if I hit the lock, I have the lock for a lot more than I have some of the other plays. I didn't have the jet under game for a lot of units, but I had the Houston lock, Seattle, San Francisco, Denver for a lot more units. So again, it's hitting the bigger units. And so now Friday week we lost on Texas. I had in two teasers, Texas over. And so if we get the field goal or a touchdown, if we get some points at the end, 5 minutes left, and we're at the 10-yard line, just get some points, and we win. And the kid threw 2 interceptions, but I mean, otherwise, if we just get the field goal, and it shouldn't have been that close, we shouldn't have needed it. It should have been much higher. Texas is letting up 30 points a game to good quarterbacks, and here we think Reed's good and throwing all these interceptions. Like, what the fuck? But I mean, so that one hurt. We had them in 2 teasers. But then some games that weren't locked, BYU in 2 teasers, Texas Tech in 2 teasers, North Texas. Ohio State, I would have put in 2 teasers. I was so crazy with Ohio State. I knew I couldn't bet them, but I didn't want to take Michigan in 16. The under was the play, and it worked fine. I lost the USC over, but it was in 1 teaser, and that was the smaller. So sometimes I took Washington over, going, well, I bet it's small. I just had a hunch, and it won. But it was not a lock, and not like Alabama was a lock in 2 teasers. So you can see the strategy and the thing. And then I play a 10-team teaser because I got loaded with teams. and I go 9-1. And again, I don't know that I could have got away from Philadelphia at home to the Bears after a loss. I don't know how you get away from that game. I don't know how you take the Bears. Now I can take the Bears play Green Bay, and I haven't. And let's see that. Let's go through those lines. So that was it yesterday. Houston exposes Indy. New England plays tonight. Denver goes to Washington and gets a win that should never have been that close. Buffalo just killed Pitt. Pitt looks terrible, 26-7. San Diego beats Oakland, not a surprise. It did stay under. I liked it under 47. See, look at the difference. At 41, it's a loser. They score 45. In a teaser, it's a winner. And you're going to play Oakland under with Geno Smith. San Diego, I don't know what they are. So, I mean, but that's where the teaser helps you. Now, I'm not here to say when the teaser helps you and when it doesn't. But the bet, I'm winning a lot more percentage by adding the 6 points to after analyzing the teams. So I know Oakland's a Z team. I know San Diego's pretty much an under team with a good defense. They're probably going to play a low-scoring game. And that's the key to it, is understanding the teams, which if you're just looking at statistics and formulas, you're totally missing the boat because the teams change, right? Washington with a 34 defense gives up 27 in overtime, so it was 20. That was a pretty good defense against a pretty good offense in Denver. It's funny how Bo Nix, he always starts kind of slow, and then, I turn it at 7-6 Washington. I'm like, fuck. I mean, I got the game, I think, plus one. So I'm like, really? And then I go, I'm assuming Denver's going to win pretty good, and they didn't. But so in the mathematical formula, how do you rank that? How do you do that? You can't. Are you putting in Houston 11-0 in a teaser? Are you putting them 27-3 in the last 2 years into your formula? How can you? That's the problem with statistics. That's what I say. So when somebody tries to sell me on statistics, I tell them to fuck off. Nick used to do that, wanting to do algorithms or whatever. And I says, you can't. And he doesn't understand that he couldn't. He wanted to. I guess he's a math type of person or a finance person. And he wanted to do that. And I said, you can't do that because of the variables. It's not like, look, I'm a math person. If I figured out the teaser trends, right? I update that every week. I'm giving you Green Bay 12-1 as a road dog. And they're a road dog this week. So I am giving you that, but then I got to be careful. That doesn't always work when the coach changes. So Chicago gets Ben Johnson. I can't use last year's trends. I can use this year's. And the Bears are not anything. Their play against is a 5-0 as a play against road dog. Philly is 10-1 play against. So maybe there's something to that, but they were 19-4 as a home favorite. So those are pretty good. I don't use them as my 100% go with, but it's nice to see that Tampa again wins. They're just unbelievable in the teaser. And but that's what see, my thesis is so much higher than a mathematical thesis. And this is what people don't get because they see all this algorithms and analytics, and they just assume math is the way. And we've proven the analytics don't work. Because everybody goes for it on fourth down, and very, very rarely do they get it. Carolina got a few against the Rams yesterday, which was, I think they wanted a one-on-one matchup, and that's, so they butch in like they're going to run and they throw it. Maybe that works. I doubt it, but maybe that works. But still, it's very risky, and it's a turnover if you don't get it. But analytics says to go for it, so the coaches are stupid and go for it without understanding the team they're playing or anything like that. So I was surprised Carolina did go for it twice, and they got touchdowns on them. So it was very. I think the Rams took the game lightly, and they had to travel to Carolina, and it's grass, not turf, and Even Stafford threw two picks. So it looked like a tired team out there. It looked like when Buffalo went to Miami and lost. They just seemed tired. The Rams had played the Niners. The Rams had played Seattle. And so they looked like a tired team. And I had nothing to do with it. I saw the Rams at 10. Now, if the Rams were 7, I might have played at 1. And the total 45 really thought was an overplay there. But again, I didn't play it because the Rams 15 defense said, well, Carolina's not going to score. I don't trust Steve Young at all. The running I like, but I know the Rams have a tough defense. So it makes, the 15 defense, you assume the Carolina's not going to score. But at 10, I'm not going to lay the favorite because they have to travel from LA to across the country. And I'm kind of leery about the travel games. I don't like betting the London games or the Europe games at all. I'm waiting for them to go to the moon and China and all that. So, Frisco looks better with Purdy, Cleveland, Prime Jr. We'll keep betting them. They're a perfect under team. But the under this week, so I'm going to bet it. It's 34. 34. They're playing Tennessee. Prime against Cam Ward. What a joke that is. It's like you like Cleveland because you just want to bet against Cam Ward. They'll probably shut him out. Myles Garrett will have 10 sacks against Cam Ward, and you got Prime, so you probably still go under. See, that's where the teaser is. 34. I am not touching this. That's 20-14, but 40. I can play it. Now I can't lock it, but that's just, ridiculous. Now, if Gabriel's in, it's probably a little higher, and that would be better for us. We'll go through the lines in a minute. So that was the pros. Minnesota, just pathetic with Rosmer. I don't know. Minnesota had Darnold. Why they let him go for J.J. McCarthy? I would fire the GM. It's not like you could have, like, Darnold, you stink. Okay, you played a good year. We'll pay you, $20 million for 2 years or something like that. I don't know what Seattle paid him, but as we saw, he'll choke in the big games anyway. So that's it. Buffalo looked good beating Pitt. Pitt, where did their offense go? Jesus, all of a sudden, Buffalo's got a defense. Now, I know Joey Bosa played, but still. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow looked like superstar again. KC loses to Dallas. Dallas is really coming on lately. So who's coming on? Green Bay. Dallas is coming on. Cincinnati looked good. Chicago looks good. Carolina, I would be afraid to, bet against them even. Like they beat the Rams, right? Tampa, they're injured a lot. Pretty good game. The Jets in Atlanta, surprised there was this many points. It was 7-7. All of a sudden it goes 27-24. A lot of running with Tyrod Taylor. Kirk Cousins is pathetic. He couldn't beat the freaking Jets. New Orleans is terrible. And Miami, somebody had to win the game. Houston looks good. You bet their defense, they're okay. CJ Stroud stinks. Indy becoming more of a run and defensive team. As we know, Daniel Jones sucks, and he's really, the team wins, you go, oh, Daniel Jones playing. Oh, Caleb's playing good. No, they're not. It's mostly running. Chicago ran for 250 yards. So there was nothing Caleb did. And CJ Stroud doesn't do anything. And these quarterbacks you think do stuff it's just running in these short little passes. Oh, the quarterback can throw a 5-yard pass to the sideline, and then the guy runs 60 yards, and, oh, look at he had a big day. No, he didn't. He sucks. Prime Jr. Okay, you happy with Prime Jr. now? Okay, he sucks. Did you not know that? Gabriel will probably play next week, but we'll keep an eye on that. The Niners seem to be playing better. Seattle's playing very good. Minnesota, wow, they need a quarterback. Oakland sucks. San Diego, I don't know. Buffalo's getting better. Pittsburgh's getting worse. Cincinnati might just win this division. They got Buffalo, and then they got Baltimore again. And the way they handled Baltimore, those are two winners. And then the rest of the schedule is easy. So Cincinnati is going to win the division, I believe. And they should have played Burrow against New England, and then they would have won the division. The way he looked, forget about it. You can't stop him. So Buffalo, we'll see. Pitt, I think got worse, and it's not just because Buffalo's got a weaker defense, and Aaron Rodgers, the injury, look, I don't know that it bothered him, but he was protective of his hand. I thought the cast he wore, I didn't think it was enough protection. I want to see Cowboy Bob Orton with the big white cast that he wore when he was with Piper, and he's throwing blows with it. That's what Aaron Rodgers, he should have the big cast down there, the big club. Denver's Denver. They're a good team. Washington, Mariota's not as bad. So the moral of the story is when we look at, these B teams and these over teams, anybody can win. Carolina's an under team. They scored 31 on the Rams. Again, it was the fourth down plays that did it for them. The Z team, New Orleans, Miami's probably a Z team also. Tennessee, a Z team, got killed 25-3. Oakland, the Z team, got killed 31-14. And Washington, the Z team, played a good game into overtime. So I think with Mariota, they're not a Z team. They have a 34 defense, but obviously their offense is better. So they're probably more of an over team. And that's the difference between me and a guy using the algorithm or analytics or whatever bullshit formula that you're using. I quickly adjust. I see the game and okay, Washington's an over team. Cincinnati's now an over team. But you can't change the formula. How are you going to, okay, now you got Burrow in for Cincinnati. Are you making them an over team? How are you adjusting the formula for Joe Burrow versus Flacco versus the first guy they had? And that's really the key to it, right? It's T. Higgins sat out the one game and then he played. Higgins is out, but you got Chase. I'm sorry. So Chase is back. And, so how do you put that in the formula? That one game he sat out, how does your formula handle injuries? How does it handle a team needing to win? How does it handle a team playing poorly? How does it handle LA going to the East Coast playing Carolina? Where are you putting that in your formula? You can't put all these variables in the formula, but in my thesis, I can because I can see it. And then I go, no, I'm not taking the Rams. They're going to the East Coast. And I'm careful with teams going to the West Coast. The team going to Tampa, right? San Diego played at Tampa. Tampa beat them. You got to be careful of all these variables, which you can't possibly formulate. So, and this whole closing line value is got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, because we see the game and we know what we want. So when I see, Seattle, Minnesota, when I see Minnesota's with the bad quarterback who's never was terrible in college, I know Seattle's going to win the game. So if the spread's 7, I'm teasing them down to 1. If it's 8, I'm teasing them to 2. But once you get to 12, and then I see the total on the game 41.5, I'm 47.5. Then I'll go under 47.5. Now maybe it closed at 40 or 39. I already know what I'm going to do. I don't need the line movement to tell me what to do. I have to figure the game out to know what to do. And that's really the key to it. Frisco, Cleveland, I figured out the game's a low-scoring game. I like the low-scoring game because I love it, because Cleveland with a strong defense, and Prime Jr. sucks, so he's not going to do anything. And the Niners with Purdy, and they're going to run McCaffrey a lot, and the tough Myles Garrett, so you got to be careful. So it's going to be. Then you add the weather into it. It was cold. It was windy. So what are you going to get? 50 points in the game? And so it's using my analytical mind and problem solving to problem solve the game, not with the formula. The only formula, I don't even use a formula. The only thing I look at is like, Denver 27-2 in the teaser, 11-0 this year. Now they're 28-2 in the teaser and 12-0 this year. That's the only thing I'm kind of using, like to make the final pick. I'm like, well, how's Denver in a teaser? Oh, okay, it fits. Just like Tampa, just like Houston. These guys are great in a teaser, but I got to get there first. Do I want to play them? Like Houston, Kansas City, I think that's this week. I'm not jumping on Houston because they're good in the teaser. But if I decide that then that's my last check. Oh, yeah, Houston's 12-0 in a teaser. Yeah, maybe I'll take them against KC. So that's last week. Like I said, I'll give you New England today. I got New England over 40.5. I don't know what the line is right now. We can look. Let's see. We've got gold 42.32. And silver 58.18. So all the bullshit they did to close the market on Friday, I was curious what would happen today, and it's the bye blues. Silver's, these banks are in big trouble. 58.18 up 146. It'll be 60 soon. It'll be 70 soon. If you have monopoly money, I strongly suggest you Rumpelstiltskin it into silver now as soon as possible, because you're not going to find it. This is not like going up and going down. This is not a fucking stock. This is money. This is silver. This is material. This is gold. This is real. This is physical. This is extremely limited. And it doesn't matter if it's U.S. Maple Leaf Krugerrand. It's 1/10 of an ounce of gold, or an ounce of gold, or an ounce of silver. If that's what you have, then it's very limited, but it's very highly in demanded. And that's what we'll get. I'll stick with football now. We'll get back into gold, but you can see 58.18. This is not Microsoft. This is not it's going up, it's gonna come down. No, it's not coming down. It's going up. It's not even hitting. Here's the real price of silver. Here's COMEX, 58.18. COMEX was 20. I bought my Highland coins at the coin dealership at the card shows in the 1990s, and it was $16. And I bought a bunch. I got the, Mickey Mantle and Gretzky and Barry Sanders and Montana and all those guys. $16, $20. Now it's $58. Here's the real price. Well, we don't know what this real price is, but we know it's a hell of a lot more than 58. So why would it pull back? Why would you profit take? If I profit take, I have to get back to this monopoly money. So that's the point I'm trying to do, is get out of the monopoly money. But we don't know what this number is. So I hate when these guys say, oh, it's going to hit $200 silver or 100. Dudes, you don't know what this is. We don't know this price, but we know COMEX price, and we know it's a paper price. And we know this price is at least 10 times what it is. So this is 58. This is at least probably $600, $700 at least. But as it's running up, the swell of the people trying to get off the Titanic, the frenzy of I got to get on the lifeboat will hit, and that'll make this go up to 2,000 or 3,000 for silver. So why you're buying to get out of the dollar, and you're getting the boost of that. It is not. I heard this again. I almost threw up that Bill Holder guy. It's not gold going up. It's the dollar going down. No, you're full of shit. It is gold going up. Why don't these guys understand that it is gold going up? They really pet peeve me, because the more they talk, they don't understand inflation, and they don't understand it is gold going up. It is silver going up. It is demand of an asset creating the asset to go up. The Montana rookie card, PSA 10, was maybe $500, $1,000, and now it's $110,000. Is that the dollar going down, or the fact that everybody wanted a PSA 10 because they're very limited? And I will put that into the same category. Gold and silver are Montana PSA 10s at $1,000. Montana is now $110,000 for a PSA 10 rookie card. It was probably $1,000. Now it's $110,000. That's what gold and silver are. And that's based on demand. It's not the dollar going down. Where can the dollar go down? It's already lost 99% of its value. All right. Who's bugging me here? I don't know. I get a text from Spectrum network upgraded scheduled from 11:30 to 12:04. Your service, my service, your service and access to 911 Spectrum Voice will be temporarily interrupted during 8 to 10 hour work. So far, it hasn't happened, and we'll hopefully get that in. Anyway, so $58 silver. It's very low. Don't even think about taking profit because you bought it at 20 or 25. I bought all those at $16. I think I paid 25 because the silver was worth 16, but the fact it was Joe Montana or Jerry Rice or Barry Sanders made it like I think you bought the silvers for 25 or 20. I have no thought of. They're probably $100 a piece now, and I have zero thought of selling them. There's no point. I want when there's gold, and then I can sell it for gold, maybe. But you don't. It's nice to make profit on them, but if I sell them, I get back into dollars. I don't want to do that. Then at the gold store on Friday, his premium now on a 1 ounce gold ounce is $200. It used to be $100. So at 4,200, he wants 4,400 for his 1 ounce, but he'll give you 97% if you bring it in. Nice spread, but he misses the point. He shouldn't be selling any of it at these low prices. But that's okay. And if I bought gold at 1,700 an ounce and it's 4,200 and I'm going to get 97%, so maybe I get 4,100 for it. That's okay. I'm not too offended that I'm not getting spot, but we will get spot for it down the road. All right. Because he'll need gold to sell, right? And so there's no gold out there, so he's going to want it, and it'll be a much higher price and not as much premium. All right. Obviously, I haven't updated my football stats because there's the game tonight. I do it tomorrow morning. College stats I haven't updated yet. I'll do that after class, but I've got those games. But let's look at the pros next week. So we start off with Thursday night game, Dallas at Detroit. Detroit 3.53.5. Again, I think Dallas should be favored in this game. I think they're the better team. Detroit barely beat the Giants, got beat by Green Bay. Dallas is passing the ball very well. Detroit has no pass rush. They have no secondary. Their offensive line's hurt. They're not getting Ragnow back until next week. Like, that's the big deal, right? And he's going to come back. He's not going to be able to play a whole game. He's not in shape. You can't get in football shape unless you play football. So he's not going to be a factor the first game, and that's the Rams. And then maybe maybe by the Bear game, he can maybe, but what's he going to affect? It's not the other guy. The other guy who was replacing him is that bad, and he's that good. So we'll see, but that's the excuse. Well, it's the new offensive line. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So Dallas has got this smothering defense like they did to KC. Dallas should be a 3-point favorite in the game. So you got a live dog who should be favored. So instead of laying 3, you're getting 3 plus the 6, you're getting 9. So there you go. Now we'll check for injuries, but probably our free play. Pitt and Baltimore. Baltimore is 643.5. Now they're both teams are 6-6, and let's see what Cincinnati is. Cincinnati is at Buffalo, and they're 4-8. So obviously the winner goes to 7-6 because somebody has to win the game, I think. But you got Cincinnati 2 games behind, and you got them playing. I think they got to play both of these teams. I know they played Baltimore after the Buffalo game. the way they just crushed Baltimore at Cincinnati. I mean, that's so. If Baltimore wins in 7-6, and then Cincinnati beats them, so Cincinnati wins this week's. They're 5. They're a game out. And everybody's crying, "Oh, we don't want Joe Burrow." Yeah, but they're in the weakest division in the league, except for the Atlanta division. Even Houston and Jacksonville Indy are making it a better league. So again, Pitt looked terrible. Baltimore, Lamar can't even throw anymore. A 6-43.5. I don't know. I don't know how you can take Baltimore with Lamar, but the way Pittsburgh played, I don't know how you can take them. And they didn't score against Buffalo, who's not a really good team. Indy, Jacksonville, this is a good game. Indy and Jacksonville are both 8-4. And what's Houston? Houston goes to KC. Houston's 7-5 now. So Houston's breathing down their throats. Indy and Jacksonville 8-4. Houston 7-5. Houston plays them both, and Houston has the best defense. Jacksonville or Indy's 1.5, 47.5. Surprised Jacksonville is not the favorite. See, that's where a lot comes from. If Jacksonville was a 3-point favorite, I would lock Indy +9, right? Because Jacksonville is not that good. They're winning because of the weeks. This is what playing the week schedule does. It gives you fake teams that are 8-4 that aren't really 8-4. And then you got teams like Philadelphia and Kansas City who aren't really that bad, or Baltimore even at 6-6. Look at their schedule. Lions, Kansas City, Buffalo. I mean, they had to play some really tough games versus Jacksonville playing, New Orleans and Miami and shit like that. So Indy 1.5, 47.5. Now tell me what the closing line value means. So if Indy's 1.5 and it goes to Jacksonville 1.5, I'm going to bet Indy because the line's 1.5, not because of closing value. That's just some bullshit like analytics that pops up and people believe it. I mean, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I don't need it. I'm about 10 levels ahead of that bullshit, right? Closing value line and these algorithms and that. See, people don't get it. I'm much higher in my analysis than using the numbers like that. I understand the teams. I'm using the defensive numbers, the quarterback, the coach. I'm using much more critical areas than just what the line is and whatever. 3 points for the road and whatever. I mean, that's why when people start talking, it's like people who don't understand inflation say, prices are up 3%. I turn right off because it's wrong. And when I start hearing this, I turn right off because I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to use it because my theory has been tested and created by me since 1977 and refixed. And then here comes Joe Montana and it got refixed. And I always look at why did I lose? Why did I lose Philly, Chicago? Because I overrated Philly and I underrated Chicago. Okay, is there any way you could have caught it? No, because the Chicago played Detroit and Baltimore and got killed by both. How can I think they're a good team beating the Giants and the Jets, Minnesota? So it was hidden, and now, okay, maybe the Bears are a pretty good team. Going into Philly and winning, okay. They ran it down their throats, so we look at that. So my thesis is better than just using mathematical formulas. Absolutely, by a mile. All right. And then you can see the way I pick. I can find 10 games. This guy, I threw out 9 games this week. Fuck, I bet every one of them, and I only lost 3. I went 8-3. Why would you throw out the Seattle Minnesota game when that was a lock? Because you knew Minnesota's not going to score. It was such a strong under. So anyway. So Indy, Jacksonville, it's a tough. Indy is the favorite. Jacksonville, I think this will show us how good Jacksonville is. They haven't played a good team yet. We'll have to go through their schedule, but I'm not going to do that right now. New Orleans, Tampa. Tampa is 8-43.5. New Orleans, the Z team. Tampa. See, Here, I would make the bet on Tampa to get a -2 because the closing line is going to go to 10 or 11, and I want to keep it under a field goal. So I'm going to make my bet soon to get advantage of under 3. And that's why I don't care what the closing line is. The closing line is 10. Well, I got the bet in at 2 because I knew it's a good bet because I already know New Orleans is a Z team and Tampa's, I think they're, what do I got them as? Tampa is an E team. They've been struggling offensively, and their defense was a 26, so they won 2017. So they're a little struggling on offense. Maybe it's an under game just because of the injuries. But again, this is a game I'm going to bet Tampa. They're 7-5. They're tied with Carolina. They have to win. They're at home. They got the Baker, and they're playing New Orleans. Camaro didn't play yesterday, and I don't know how much Olave played. And against the great Miami team, Miami beat New Orleans 21-17. So they did get 17 on Miami. You're losing to Miami, so I'm not worried about them beating Tampa. If they do, they do. It won't be a lot, but that's the strategy. Get the Tampa game in before it goes to 10, and you're laying 4 or 5. Now, they can still win by 10, but it's a much better bet if you lane 2 than you lane 6 or 5, right? Total-wise, probably an under game. Miami and the Jets. Miami is 2.5, 41.5. Now, this game's at the Jets's, who, let's not forget, beat Atlanta yesterday. I think a lot of the problem is these teams go to London, and when they go to London, it's a jet lag thing. I know when I go to Europe, it takes me a week when I come back to get into the time and the jet lag and everything. It's at least 2 days of just like getting your sleep back to normal, and just, you're just tired. That air travel really kills you. And so I think that's what happened to a lot of these teams that go to London. I think that adds to the Rams played in London. They were probably jet lagged a little on the trip. They're okay at home, but when they have to fly, they're probably still got some jet lag. The Jets went to London. Miami, I think, went to London. Washington. So these teams that have to travel to London, it's bullshit. It might not hurt them the next week, but down the road, the next 2 or 3 weeks, they're just tired from the jet lag. So Miami 2.5. I don't know. That's a tough one because both teams suck. But Tyrod Taylor did okay. Maybe. But see, here you can't get excited. The team's so bad. Unless you deem Miami as a weak favorite, and the Jets getting 8.5, and Tyreek Hill's out for the year, so you might lean on the Jets's. They did get the win against Atlanta, so they're playing better, although they traded half their players away. So I don't know. Washington, Minnesota. Washington's won 41.5. A lot will depend on the quarterback. If it's Brosmer again, it's an under, and it's probably take Washington plus the 5. Again, I don't know what the closing line value even means or why you would use it here. I'm looking at the game. If Minnesota is the favorite, I'm taking Washington as the dog. It doesn't matter as long if I can get that line. I don't care what the closing line value versus the opening. That's down here. We're up here, right? Our analysis, problem-solving skills up here. We want Washington as the dog based on what they did to Denver yesterday. They'll move the ball on Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have a prayer with this Brosmer, so we'll see who the quarterback is. That will determine what we do. That's not in a formula, and it's got nothing to do with the closing line value. Because of all of a sudden they go to McCartney, they'll change if you start off with Brosmer, who is terrible, right? Not that J.J. McCarthy's any better. So I don't see anything about this closing line value. This sounds like this thing in baseball where they now what is it, OPS instead of batting average and home runs and RBIs. They go, oh, look at OPS. Well, it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. But they use it and they think it means something, but it doesn't mean anything. The guy could have a 200 batting average, but every hit's a home run. So his OPS is high. Yeah, but he's got a 200 batting average. The guy sucks. All right. So again, this is hurting us. If we get Minnesota as the favorite with Brosmer, then it could be a lock with Washington. But if we don't, we don't. Then it's a little less of a play with Washington, but we still like Washington. Tennessee, Cleveland, 3.5, 33.5 here. Jesus Christ. What are you going to do? Tennessee, Cam Ward stinks. Cleveland, let's see who the quarterback is. If it's Prime Jr., he stinks. You're not going to get points. That's why it's 33.5, 34 here. It's the defense. I mean, Cleveland's got that Graham from Michigan, and they got Myles Garrett, and they got the kid from Penn State. So they got it. That's why it's so hard to score on them. They'll shut out Tennessee with Ward. Maybe they'll get a little bit, but they're not going to score. So where are you going to get the points if it's Ward against Prime Jr., right? You won't get any points. Tennessee shows a pretty good defense once in a while. Their numbers don't show it. Their number is 28 defense, and they gave up 25 to Jacksonville. It's not terrible, even though point-wise, but it could be Cam Ward throwing interceptions that make the defense look worse. But when I see them, they're pretty hard to score on. So probably an under game, but it's 33.5, 34. Hence why you need the teaser, because then 40, it's a whole lot better than the 33, 34. It sounds like an Iowa game. Cincinnati, Buffalo, 651.5. Joe Burrow, you can't make Joe Burrow dog. Sorry, it's like Mahomes. I get 6 points. I get 12 points. This is, again, where you use the teaser. In a 6-point game, I'm not crazy about it. Buffalo's good at home. Joe Burrow probably keep the game close. At 12, it's a much, much better bet, Cincinnati and 12 with Burrow and Chase back, than it is 6. And it's as simple as that. But people got to understand teasers, and they don't. They refuse to understand them. This is a Joe Burrow bet. So, I mean, you get Burrow in 12. The total on the game is 51.5. It's a total over. Buffalo scores a lot. Cincinnati has a very weak defense, although Baltimore didn't take advantage. 32-14 to Baltimore. Well, first, Cincinnati scored 32 on Baltimore, although their defense isn't there. But Lamar looked like shit. I'm not expecting Josh Allen to look like Lamar. I think he'll look much better. So also the over 45 is a fucking joke also. So both these plays, Cincy and 12 and Buffalo over, are jokes, right? Seattle, Atlanta. Seattle 7.5, 43.5. Again, you got Seattle going from Seattle to Atlanta, and you can't ignore that. Carolina just beat the Rams. If that game was at LA, LA kills them. Right, but who has to fly? So you're making Seattle fly. They beat Minnesota with a good defense, 26. Atlanta with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins will throw at least 3 picks in the game. The Seattle defense will get all over Kirk Cousins, and I don't look at Kirk Cousins to win this game. Darnold's playing okay, and I don't think Atlanta's defense is going to really bother Darnold as much. I think Seattle wins at laying the 1. Again, this is the beauty of the teaser. I'm laying 7. I'm laying 1. All they got to do is win. You can see, like last night, Denver. That's why it was a lock. It was a +1. I didn't have to lay a point. That's why it's a lock. I'm not looking at numbers and having that determine if I play the game. I'm looking at the teams. And yes, I can figure out the teams, but most people can't. Most people look at it and it's just fog. I look at it and go, look at Cincinnati, Joe Burrow +12. Go figure that out with statistics, right? So I think Seattle -1 probably is good. You got to worry about the jet lag a little bit. Maybe you go under with it because of Seattle's great defense, and Atlanta's got Kirk Cousins, who's going to throw 2 picks at least. Denver goes to Oakland. Denver 7.5, 40.5. Denver scares you. I mean, they struggle, and then get the win. And, you don't, with that defense, you just don't understand, why they play so many close games. They don't just shut you down. They might shut Oakland down. Mike Meyer was out, Brock Bowers and Gentry, I assume played. I'll look at the box score. Denver, much better team here. Denver is 10-2, so they're up for the 1 seed. I think New England's won 8 or 9, so it's Denver, New England for the 1 seed. And the Indy's now dropped off. KC's off. KC can't catch them to win the division. KC is 6-6, so they got a 4-game lead on KC with 5 to play. They're not going to lose that, especially playing Oakland. So they should beat Oakland because Oakland's so bad. Denver very strong in a teaser. The total on the game's 40, probably an under because Denver's got the killer defense, and Oakland is not going to score a lot because Geno Smith sucks. You fired the offensive coordinator. When you fired Chip Kelly, and who are you going to replace him with? Coach Pete's son, or his grandson, or his wife. Who's the offensive coordinator for Oakland? I mean, forget about it. They barely scored on San Diego. I look for a similar game. It was 31-14 to 45, and here you get it. You can go under 46. I think you're getting a similar game there. But if you do, then Denver -1 is a good play. The under is probably a good play. Again, we got to see the injury. So these are just superficial first glances. But again, I would get that. I would get the Tampa Bay game in as soon as possible to keep it under a field goal. And again, now you're getting at least things we can bet on. A good team Tampa against the shit New Orleans. We've been getting Miami, New Orleans, the Jets, New Orleans, the very shit teams, Carolina, Atlanta against New Orleans. And so it's hard to bet on Z teams, right? Z teams playing Z teams. It's very difficult. But when we get a Tampa, New Orleans, or we get, Seattle against Atlanta, it makes it a lot easier to bet on it. All right. So we're already at Denver, Oakland. So now we've got the Rams at Arizona. The Rams are already at 8-48.5. The Rams off the loss. It was mostly these 4th down throws. Arizona, Brissett, he's not bad. The Rams, okay. Well, we thought Philly would be good off of a loss, but they weren't. Now they're off of 2 losses, but I think they're off this week. No, they're playing this week. Who do they play? Okay. So we know Stafford's good. We know Arizona's got a weak defense. And, the Rams off the loss at Arizona. Okay, they got their loss. Now they should be fired up. Stafford had a good game, but although he threw 2 picks and a little bit of a pass rush. Arizona, how strong are they in a pass rush? If Stafford's got time to throw between Puka-Nuka and Devontae Adams, they'll eat you alive. Their defense is good. Arizona, what did Arizona do yesterday? They 2017 to Tampa. Let me watch that game. I did watch it, but I was doing this, so I didn't see it. I just want to see the pressure they got on Tampa. What happened at Tampa only scored 20. But Arizona, they're a weak home dog. They play a lot of close games that they lose there. So we'll see. If it goes over 9, I have no interest. Keeping it under a field goal, I have an interest. So we'll see. The Bears go to Green Bay. This one is a mystery. Green Bay is 6.5, 44.5 to the Bears. Green Bay's more offense than defense, even though Micah Parsons, they did give up points to the Lions. Chicago will score on them. Chicago, probably a live dog. The total is 44. We can go 38. I think that's an easy winner. The Bears are scoring on you. They have a decent defense. Well, let's look at the Philly game. 24-50, a 39. Should have been 24-17 if the guy could have made an extra point. So 24-17 is a 41. So this will be over 38. I think the Bears, they run the ball a lot. They score. I think that'll hurt Green Bay because Green Bay is Micah Parsons pressuring the quarterback. And if you can run on him, it's like running on Lawrence Taylor. When you played Lawrence Taylor, you had no time to throw. He's going to sack you. And so you had to run at Lawrence Taylor to take his speed out of it. It was the only way. And you had to put a tight end and a tackle to block him. Otherwise, forget about it. And you got Micah Parsons, who's just a nightmare, and he's gonna sack you. So we've got Caleb, who has no chance in this game. But if they can run it like they just did with the Georgia guy, then that'll be different. Now, they did run it on Philadelphia, so they can run on Green Bay. It showed you a lot beating Philadelphia, that their running game's getting better and that whole design and all these little dipsy-do trick plays. So I think we used the Detroit game. They won 31-24, and I think you get a similar score here, probably closer. I can see Green Bay putting up 30, and I can see the Bears putting up 30. I think the Bears are a live dog, and I think the play is over. Chicago doesn't. Their linebackers have been out, and they're giving up 15 fucking points to Philadelphia. Like, are you kidding me? What is wrong with Jalen Hurts? Jesus Christ, the guy's terrible. So I think Chicago's more of an over team than an under. Green Bay is a good team with Micah Parsons, but the Lions still got 24 on them. So the Bears will score. They'll see what the Lions did. A lot of crossing patterns by this Williamson guy, who all he does is go up and cross over, and that's it. That's his pattern. So, like I said, I would keep a cornerback on the other side to get into his pattern. And when they throw that little crossing pattern, which is the only play he can run, where I think he goes long, but if he's going to go across, I just keep my cornerback and pick him off because he's coming right to you. And you can disguise it where golf won't know anything. Okay. So I think the Bears are a live dog. After I saw the Philly game, I'm going, yeah, okay, we thought the Bears sucked, but going into Philly and winning, yeah, maybe they don't suck. They're 9-3, so this is a big game. Green Bay's 8-3-1. So this is for first place. So we'll see as the Lions fade away into the sunset. Houston, KC. KC 3.5, 41.5. Houston, big dog, big under team. KC, I mean, they're 6-6, but it's been such a hard schedule. Buffalo, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Detroit, San Diego, Denver. I mean, yeah, what did you expect them to be? 11-1 playing that schedule? And that's where the schedule comes in. That's really a bad schedule because here you got the Bears at 9-3. Give the Bears that schedule, there'd be 3-9. So it's tough on KC to have to play this monster schedule. I think it's really bad for the league. I think it's too much. Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Buffalo. Okay, now here comes Houston in, who's 7-5, but they got the killer defense. I think this game will be close. Again, you want Mahomes as a dog, but here, Houston, bring the defense. KC's, struggled with Dallas. They really struggled offensively with Dallas's 5-man rush. That's what I like against Detroit. They'll do that 5-man rush. Detroit won't be able to run, and they'll be all over Goff, and he'll be crying, "Oh, they blitzed me." Oh, he's terrible. So I like Houston, and we know how strong they are in a teaser. KC, I mean, I love Mahomes. Total of 41. I think that's first thing. That's an under. It's who you're playing and what is the team. Houston, great defense. Playing under games. Played Indy, under. That's how you pick the games. You have to understand the team. KC, we got Mahomes. We don't have running. Pacheco's not. It's not like they got a good running attack. It's decent. Hunt, okay. Uh, and all you got's Kelsey. The other receivers are nothing special. Rice and Worthy are nothing. And they're just average NFL receivers. So that's what you have. But Houston would put the big rush on them. Mahomes would be in trouble. And Houston, it's just really the best unit on the field, Houston's defense. Mahomes is great, but that's it. They'll take Kelsey away, and then that's it. And then Houston doesn't have much of an offense. CJ Stroud's terrible, but again, it's the defense. So this turns into a defensive game, and possibly Houston is a dog going into Indy and winning. Yeah, KC's better than Indy, of course, but no, they're just struggling. They just don't have that running game, so you can go after Mahomes. Then our last game, the mighty Eagles are 3-40.5. Can somebody explain to me how the fuck Philadelphia's favored in this game? They lost to the fucking Bears at home. Jalen Hurts couldn't complete a pass. They got one touchdown. He fumbles the tush push. No, they got 2 touchdowns, I believe. Yeah, they missed the extra point on the one. They went for 2 on the other. You got a coach who's an idiot. We're down 9. Let's go for 2. But what if you miss the 2-point conversion? You're down 9. You need 2 scores. Just kick your fucking extra point and get down 8, and then you score and tie the game up. What are you thinking? You don't go for 2 when you're down 9. Right? You gotta you gotta get down 8 where you can score and 2-point it to tie. But if you don't make the 9, if you miss it, you're done. You need 2 scores. You can't win. So what are you thinking here? Or are you capable of thinking? Any coach that does that kind of a stupid play, it's like the Miami Hurricane coach. All you got to do is take a knee, and you beat Georgia Tech last year, and he doesn't take the knee. Now, this is not a bet. I don't think I had bet the game. I was just noticing how stupid this person was. You just take a knee, and the clock runs out. Or you can hand it to him, and then there's a fumble, and then Georgia Tech throws a bomb and beats you. And he's still the coach. Oh, okay. I think they fired the offensive coordinator over that or whatever. Just unbelievable that this guy's still coaching. So you got to be careful of stupid coaches, and that's what we got here. So Philadelphia, stupid coach. Anybody that you're down 9 goes for 2, and you miss it, and you're still down 9, which means you're down 2 scores when an extra point puts you down 1. I don't understand when you're down 14 and you go for 2 to cut the lead to 6. I don't understand that concept. Just kick the extra point, get down 7, kick your extra point, and you're tied. You look, dude, you're down 14. Just kick your points, tie the game up. It's not, we want to win. Oh, yeah. And you're going to get 2-point conversions. Okay. You're down 14. If you're so good, why are you down 14? All right. So what do we do with this mess? Philly, San Diego. I mean, we've got Philadelphia. Oh my God. I don't see how you can play them. Yes, they got to go coast to coast, so that goes both ways. So that's a big advantage to San Diego. San Diego's struggling a little bit. What do I got, San Diego? They're an under team with the 22 defense, beating the Raiders 31-14. Maybe they go to an E team, which is they score in the mid-20s, and the defense will still be 22. This was a last 5, too. So I went in where I adjusted the last 5. So they're a 22 defense, so it'll still be a 22. Philly, I think they're an under team now because they give up their last 5 went from 21 to 17 a game, giving up 24 to the Bears. So they'll probably be a 17-18, and they don't score, and that's the thing. So great defense there, and San Diego 22 with they let Oakland get 14. Probably an under game here. Philly's defense, all my Georgia boys, going against San Diego, and they're pretty good defense. Hurts can't complete a pass. He's terrible. He's as bad as Lamar now. And then Philly um, and San Diego's offense. I gotta watch that game, San Diego, Oakland. But I can't. You got to take San Diego or it's an under. How can you take Philadelphia? Now they lost two in a row. Well, they're going to lose three in a row here. They're 8-4. They're going to be 8-5. And there's basically, I think, you had to go to KC. You played Baltimore. You played Buffalo. You played Detroit. Now you played the Bears. You played Green Bay. It's just wears on you mentally to play all these tough games. And now here you go to San Diego. It's just like KC. I mean, they're playing all these tough games. Mentally, you can't possibly get up for it. That's why I thought they'd beat the Bears because of the loss they did, blowing the lead to Dallas, a game they never should have lost. But we played it over again. And that's why when I got Philly -3, the play here is the total. So it's probably over or an under. It might be an over at 34. It's low, so 34 could be an over. But you can't play Philly here. You got to play the dog in the game or the total. You can't play Philly +3. And that's it. So it's just Jalen Hurts. He's terrible. He's overthrowing guys by 10 yards. Like, what the fuck's he doing? And then you get down there at the 10-yard line and you're fumbling. Come on, man. What are you doing? So I blame Jalen Hurts. Terrible. Lamar overthrowing everybody by 10 yards multiple times in the game. Then I wondered how they only scored 14 points on Cincinnati with the 37 defense. Unbelievable. So that's what we have. Joe Burrow back. So here comes points from Cincy. I mean, you got to realize having Joe Burrow back allows all these overlocks to come in, right? So that's it. So the weakest favorite, I think, is Detroit, Baltimore. Miami's a weak favorite. Cleveland with Prime's a weak favorite, but they're playing Tennessee. Seattle, I like. Denver, I like. The Rams, Green Bay, Chicago. I think Green Bay is the weak favorite. Kansas City's definitely a weak favorite here. And Philly. And by weak favorite, I mean very live dog. And that's so, in other words, Detroit's a weak favorite, meaning, Dallas and 9 is a very good play here. And I think that's how you got to look at it. I don't need no fucking formulas to pick. And that's why I get very aggressive when somebody comes up to me with I went to this class and he taught me this formula and this closing line value and all this bullshit. And it's like, you're an idiot. I don't need that. See, but they don't get it because we're up here. We're like silver. We're up here and they're down here and they're using these formulas and grinding. And I'm picking, what did I pick? I picked 20 winners last week. I'm 20-6 right now. And then tonight we'll see if we're 21-6 or 20-7. Way over 75%. But I do that every week. I mean, my worst week's like maybe I go 7-5. I think I had a bad week, 7-5. And that's, it's usually either playing a game I shouldn't be playing, like Washington, Oregon. I probably shouldn't have played Washington. Oregon needed it. Once Ohio State won, Oregon didn't need the game, so it made sense. Oregon didn't need it for the playoff, and Oregon won, and I bet against that, but Washington did cover. So, I mean, you get away with them, but those are the bets that are kind of bad bets. Even though I won it probably, you probably don't need to play that game. I think what hurt us this week, even though we had a very good week, was 2 locks on Friday. Well, the Air Force lock, I've been locking Air Force the last 3 weeks and winning because they turned into an under team, turned back into an over team, which didn't help. That we couldn't have seen, but I didn't necessarily need to lock them. I could not have gotten away from Philadelphia lock or the Texas and A&M over lock couldn't get away. Those just lost. The Alabama game, the Oklahoma game, the Old Mississippi. Okay, those 3 locks came in. The only other play would have been maybe going Cincinnati over on Thursday with the Seattle under or the Frisco under earlier. I was kind of like, let's do the Thursday games instead of here's the whole sheet. And I totally, on Thursday, it should have been with Frisco under, whoever, with Seattle under. I did play Philly with Denver, but I mean, that's the way it should have been. It should have been get Frisco and Seattle unders into the fray on Thursday. But I was kind of going, okay, I got 3 games Thursday. Okay, I'm going to bet them next. And maybe I don't lock the Air Force game. I still probably play it under because I've been playing. It's like Coastal Carolina. We did get away from them. They won 2 locks for us, and then we stayed away against South Carolina, and we stayed away against James Madison. They got killed in both those games. So that's why we bet against the Z team with teams like James Madison and Coastal Carolina and Lou Monroe, Lou Lafayette, whatever, all the Lou's. And that's it. Now there was a low number in the Oklahoma game. That number was 37.5. I don't know if it ended, let's say, at 36.5. And the score was 17-13. I knew that was going to be a low-scoring game. I knew Oklahoma's been playing better. We win it laying the 4, but it was a very much better under because LSU's played Alabama and their defense looked great, and they had no offense. And I knew Oklahoma's coming in with a better defense than Alabama, so I know there's not going to be points. And they just shut down old Missouri, Oklahoma the week before. So that would have been the only, if it was a 42-43, that's a lock under. But at 36, see, so where the points really get you. So I played the 4 instead of the under, but the 4 won for us, but the under doesn't. And then the fucking Bama, man, what a game that was. What was the total on that? 46. So the score ends 27-24, 47. I did circle the under in the game, but when Alabama, once I knew they had to win to make the playoff, I just had to go with them. And it was a dogfight. Auburn, great defense, Auburn. Jeez, I don't understand. It's so hard to draft. If I'm drafting, I'm looking at the Auburn defense. I'm looking at the fucking Bama defense, the Oklahoma defense, Georgia defense, and I'm grabbing players. Hey, Ron Rice. I rang. Okay. I'm here. So now do you feel better after the Friday from all the money I made you Saturday and Sunday? You understand that. I took your advice and did the 4-team teaser using only 6 points. And I assume you won? I hope so. I don't remember your games, but I think that was good. It sounds like you did good. But yeah, I normally, especially in the pros, the 6 points, really to go much higher than that, you don't need to. I mean, Philly either was going to win or they lost. But yesterday, the Niners under was, you didn't need the extra points. And the Seattle under, you didn't need the points. And Houston under, you didn't need the points. And Denver, you needed the 6, but again, you didn't need the 10. I showed you my 10. Here's my 10-team teaser. I mean, look at this beauty. Unbelievable. So we bet $100 to win $1,300. We start off KC Dallas over, a winner. We go Cincinnati Baltimore over, a winner. We go, it was 46. Yeah, Cincinnati. It was 32. It was a 46. So we do win. We do win the Cincinnati over. Our only loser, Philly. We have Denver plus 2.5. We got New Orleans, Miami under. That was easy. Old Miss, Mississippi State over, winner. Well, Vanderbilt, Tennessee over, easy. A&M, Texas. Here, it was 43.5, not the 45 we had. So that was a winner. Oklahoma plus 2.5, so they won the game. And BYU 9-1. So I can't pick 10 teams, huh? Go fuck off then. How I could have got away from Philadelphia and that game, I don't know. I couldn't get away from it. I mean, I could have. I suppose I could have played San Francisco there instead. Derek, thank you. You have an interesting mix of markets that you like speculate on. Glad to find your channel. Thank you, Derek. Thank you for the money. I appreciate it. I don't know. I'm trying to give you a like, but it doesn't allow it. Oh, that might be it. Yeah, I do a lot of different. I'm not much of sports bettor, but I love trading gold futures. Okay. So you're not, yeah, because I get economic people and I get football people, so it's okay. I do both subjects. Under 49ers, under Miami, under 49ers, under Miami, Tampa +2, and Denver. There you go. Good for you, Ron. I'm glad Denver held on for us, but yeah, so there you go. You did, and you missed the under in Seattle, which I should have locked. If you have any questions, Derek, please just feel free to tell me what you want to talk about. But basically, teaching Austrian economics, which is free market economics, what that means is like what we're going through now. There's a shortage. If you have a shortage with high demand, the price goes up. Joe Montana PSA 10 rookie. Any Mickey Mantle cards there that are in 9s or 10 shape from the 50s and the 60s are worth millions. It's very limited because there's not a lot of really good Mantle cards, right, that are going to get you 8s, 9, even a PSA 8. Hell, a PSA 1 Mantle rookie card, $65,000. So if you see one at the show that the guy has and he doesn't know it, and it's the rookie and it's legit and it's all kind of, it's beaten up a little bit, yeah, I'll give it to you for a couple $100 because he doesn't think it's worth anything. Grab it, get it graded, even if it's a PSA 1, as long as you know it's authentic. It's $60,000 that you're paying $200, $500 for. Anything limited with high demand, and that is gold and silver now, it's going to go to the moon. And the reason is because this is worthless. That's why it's ripped. This is the value of the dollar. I don't even know. I think the value of the dollar is like this now. Versus this, he who can't be named, he who can't be printed, he who can't be inflated. This is inflated. The people running it, the government, keep printing it because they're in over their heads and they have to cover their expenses and they can't. So they keep printing it, making this worth nothing. You cannot print this. That's the whole rhyme and reason of this. You cannot print this. This has to be dug out of the ground, and there's very little left in the ground. They've already dug it out. Yeah, and there's some in the bottom of the ocean and the Spanish ships and stuff like that, like Professor talks about. But that's it. So there is gold that's already out there that's on this, but not, you cannot inflate this. You can't print this. You cannot counterfeit this. You test it. You put a magnet to it. If it sticks, it's not real. You can't really put silver or copper or nickel into this because then it won't come out. I mean, there's a little bit, but there, as long as it's 1 ounce of 999 gold, which this is, you're fine. Actually, this is 9999. I think the Canadians are 3 or 4, and there's nothing in this. This is all gold, so it's limited. So our game is to trade this and buy that with it, because this is extremely limited. It is money and it is hugely demanded. And with BRICS coming on board, that's why it's not the dollar going down. It's not the dollar going down. It's not gold going up, the dollar going down. No, it is gold going up because the demand is huge. And people that tell you it's not gold going up have their heads up their asses. They do not know what they're talking about. This is strictly demand of the market pushing this price up. You can see it was sitting at 17, 1800 all these years until BRICS came in. And what did BRICS do? They started buying up the gold. Demand increased. And when the demand increased, this is hitting the moon. This is going to, I mean, it's going to be 10,000 on its way to 25, on its way to the moon and to the Mars. I'm trying to be cute with Mars, but that's the point. It's going to go up. It has to go up because of huge demand. You're going to get the frenzy, like I said, on the Twilight Zone, on the Titanic. Once the people realize the boat's sinking, they start panicking for the lifeboat. People aren't realizing the dollar is worthless yet. We know it is. There's no question it is. You can't print this much. Wrong. Once you print it, it's worthless. So once you do that, it's gone. And then once it's gone, it's worth zero. Well, I can still go to the store. It costs me more. So before I was buying gold at 17, 1800. Now it's 200 over spot. Spot's 42.40. It's 44.40 to buy an ounce of gold that I bought 100 over spot. So 1700 I bought for 1800. I was with Jenna last October. We went to Italy. That's a lot of my thumbnails are from Italy. And it was 2,700 in October. We met in October. It's 4,200. It's up 1,500 in a year. And it would be more if they didn't suppress it with COMEX price fixing it, right? Oh, by the way, my last thumbnail is of Switzerland. It's kind of hard to see it. But it needs some explanation. So this thumbnail right here is the Swiss Alps. And I went a little bit of skiing there. I didn't want to ski too much and break my ankle in Switzerland, but that is on our way up the mountain in Switzerland. So just FYI. But anyway, if you have things that are highly demanded and you have things that are very limited, the only question I can ask you, Derek, is you should be buying physical. You say you're trading gold futures. I would get out of that because you're not getting gold. You need this, right? This is what you want is physical. You need this. You need physical. Get out of the futures. Get out of the stocks. Especially the ETFs. They take 1 ounce of gold and they sell it to 1,000 people. It's a big Ponzi scheme. It's a Madoff, the ETFs. So stay out of them. You need physical. So I don't know if you have much physical, Derek, but my recommendation is buy it as much as you can and get out of the gold futures. I know they're going up, but they're manipulated. And the gold solid, the physicals, you're going to 10 times your money without risk versus the futures where even if you make money, you're still in dollars. You don't want to be in this, right? Okay. This is worthless. So the money you're making in gold, you want it to be because you own physical gold. You want to be in this and the money goes up. Great. And all I got to do is go to go to my store and say, here, give me, this is worth $500. Give me the 500. Ron, you rang is from the old Addams Family show. I heard my name earlier. Oh, okay. I don't recall what I was talking about because I jump around a lot, but no problem. Derek, gotcha. Is there point even counting gold in dollars after a certain point? No, because the dollar is going to be worthless. But that's the whole point of it. You're going to take an ounce of gold and buy a house with it. So you're going to go to somebody who just went broke because his house was worthless because the dollar went to zero. And you're going to walk in with this ounce of gold or maybe 2 ounces of gold. And you say, here, I'll buy your house. And he'll say, great, because he'll need the money. What'll happen is people will need the money. So you got, let's say Bitcoin, it's dropping. stock market's about to crash, the housing market's about to crash, and the car market's about to crash. People can't afford things, so they need to pull their assets just to live, pay rent, pay food, and everything. So once you realize that, you're but you're sitting fine in gold. Gold will be the currency. It will be the gold standard. That's what's happening in BRICS. They're backing the yuan. The yuan's worthless. The ruble is worthless, but they're backing them by gold and silver. So that's the value of the money is always if it's backed by gold and silver. If it's not backed, it's worthless. The U.S. I doubt we have 8,000 tons. I doubt we have 8 tons of gold. But the key is the money not backed by anything is worthless. So anything you have in dollars is worth. So you have a stock, you have Apple, and you bought it at $50 a share, and it's $500 now a share or whatever. It's not worth anything because the value is in dollars, which isn't worth anything. Plus, you're going to be lucky to get your money out because JP Morgan owns your stocks, even though you think you do. They're the custodian of it, and they can say, no, we're not letting you have the money. Just like in banks, they're not going to let you have your money out, and the money won't be worth anything anyway. But the one thing that will hold value and actually go up tenfold is gold and silver. Look at silver. Silver's 58. Now, if you didn't listen to my class, you wouldn't have known I called that. I called for $1,000 an ounce silver 2-3 years ago. And everybody, it's never been over 50 in paper world. Yes, but not in the physical world. And again, knowing it's limited and knowing the huge demand, that's where we're headed. And you see these idiots going, it'll hit 60 or 70 by the end of the year. Bullshit. You don't know. All I know is it will be 1,000. I can't tell you the exact date, but probably within a year, once the floodgates open, it's just gone because there is no supply. It's gone. But the demand is huge. And I don't care about the tomahawks and the solar panels and all that shit. It's about money. And the gold's getting so expensive that you go, well, let me buy some silver then. So I've already eaten a lot of gold and silver. So I'm just sitting back watching the price go up. I was in the store Friday. He had 2/10 of an. He had two of these. He had two of these and Eagles, and then he had I think 3 bars, 1-ounce bars, and that's all. And so when people come in, he's now giving you 97% of spot, and then he's charging 200 over spot for an ounce. So he's making nickels and dimes. So it's pretty funny. Let me see. Is there a point? I'm reading it, Derek's. Is there a point even counting gold in dollars? No. Yeah. So what'll happen is the dollar will go out and everything will be valued in gold, like in BRICS. It'll be gold-backed currency, and it'll be worth what the gold's worth. And the dollars won't buy you anything. That's why I'm saying, as long as you can trade them for the gold, that's why I call it Rumpelstiltskin. If I have $1,000 and I can get a 1/4 ounce of gold, I want to trade in my worthless dollars for gold that's only going to go to Mars. So the more you can trade. So I asked the guy when I was in the store Friday, are you going to stop taking dollars for gold? He said, no. Great. Okay. I'm a happy boy because I don't know why he's doing that. His dollars are worthless. He shouldn't be doing that. But I guess as long as his utilities and paying everybody is still in dollars, he'll take them because he needs it to pay his bills. But I don't want it. If I get paid in dollars, I run and turn it into gold and silver as fast as I can. Andrew, hi, Andrew, 3471. The Bitcoiners and crypto bias calling callers silver a doorstop for years. They are all quiet now. Yeah, because the Bitcoiners it's not even real. It makes Madoff look like a Boy Scout, right? They're not real. Show me what it looks like. Describe what a Bitcoin looks like. Why is it called a coin? It's not a coin. It's nothing. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Madoff, and any sucker that falls for it. Whenever I see somebody with Bitcoin, when I go to get my oil changed at Toyota, There's one guy still has his Bitcoin and says, you better sell it. Sell it for gold. Like what are you waiting for? Well, I own gold. Well, buy more. The Bitcoin is not worth it. Even if it doesn't go to zero, it's not worth anything. It's priced in dollars. The dollar goes out. What's your Bitcoin worth? Nothing. Well, it'll be worth whatever a Bitcoin's worth. A Bitcoin isn't worth anything because it's not even real. If you can't, it's like getting digital steak. Oh, okay, go eat that, right? You can't because it's not real. And it's not a coin and it's not digital gold. It's a Ponzi scheme. You're being made off. Get the fuck out of it. The only one making money in this is uh, Donald Trump and Larry Fink and the Sailor guy who Sailor's got a lot of money in it. He's going to go broke as well. Larry Fink's going broke in his thing because he's making some bad investments. Silver plus 101%, Bitcoin down 9 year to date. Yeah, well, wait about a month. Silver will be plus 500% because all you need to get to the percent is what was it, 25? Let's say it was $25. Every 25 is 100%, which I think is what you're doing. So when it goes to 75, it's 200%. When it goes to 100, that's 300%. It's at least 300% this year. Well, what is it when it hits 1,000? And it will, and it's not going to be too far away, because once the frenzy of, oh, I better get off the Titanic, it's sinking, sinks in, and everybody runs to get onto the lifeboat. Once people realize the dollar's worthless, there's no choice. You have to get into gold and silver. There's nothing else you can buy. I do tell you to buy a Mantle card or a Rolex, but really, at the end of the day, you need to turn that into money. You'd rather have gold and silver than a Mantle card and a Rolex at this point, or a Picasso. Down the road, you'll be okay with it, but right now, you want that. Ron, 58.28. There you go. It's flying through. Once it hit 40, right? It flew through 40. It's drying through 50. Your next little comment will be 75.50. Let's go. And then it'll be, oh, we hit 100. How excited are we going to be when we see triple digit silver, which we have no doubt it will be at. And these are not predictions like I do in football, where I'm pretty sure of what's going to happen. But in this case, I am positive what's going to happen. I'm not guessing at all. We're just waiting because it's a monopoly. There is nowhere else to go with your money. You can't buy euros or Swiss francs or British pounds or won. The won's not in any, is highly inflated. That doesn't have value. The only thing with value is gold and silver that you can't print. The key is, can I print it? I print the dollar to death and the euro and the British pound. I print them to death. And I can't print gold and silver. And you got to be careful of these guys on eBay from China who want to sell you the silver at $25. Run. I mean, oh, what a great price, $25. Yeah, it's because it's not real. It's fake silver, and just be careful with those guys. Derek, I have to buy silver. Well, you better buy it soon. The problem that we're going to run into, not only the price going to be $1,000, where are you going to find it? Now, I went to my guy's store. He still had silver. I don't know how much longer he will. He seems to keep being, and he's only $2 over spot. So silver was 55 or 56 on Friday. He was 58. So I could have got it, but I've been buying it. I bought an outfit when it was 25, 28 an ounce. I remember the days it was 28 and it'd go down to 25. And I'd be like, I'm telling you guys, watch my earlier videos. It's the sale of the century. Because there's no reason for silver to drop because the demand's huge. And now people would ask me, well, why? And I'd go, bricks. They're buying all the gold. It's demand. You have physical demand on an item that has no supply. Somebody was talking about London Exchange and they talk, it's 39 million ounces of silver. And I hate when they do that because it's only 1,200 tons. They won't talk tons. They're trying to make it dramatic by saying 39 million. So I do the math. It's 32,000 ounces a ton. When you do the math, it's only 1,200 tons. China has 80,000 tons of gold. This is only 1,200 tons of silver. This is nothing. 800 million tons. When somebody brought up, It's only 25,000 tons. That's nothing. That's nothing. There's 500,000 tons of silver, I believe, and there's only 200,000 tons of gold. And all the demand. And again, the US doesn't control the price. The price is now controlled by BRICS, and China gets their piece of COMEX, at about 6 o'clock at night. And then Europe gets it at about 2, and then we get it at 10. So we're not the only players price fixing it, right? And they don't want it. Put it this way: if you have, let's say you have 1,000 ounces of gold, you want the price to go up or down? And if you're China and you got 80,000 tons, they don't want the price to go down at this point. They want to kill the US, and Russia does, so they want the price to go up, and that's a big reason it's going up. Also, if I make silver very expensive and they can't use it on the Tomahawk missiles, I just hurt their military because silver's too expensive, and so it's an India and Russia's interest to get the silver price up, so we can't use it for Tomahawk missiles. Andrew. Okay. Andrew's telling Derek, act now, Derek, silver triple digits next year and 4 digits. And no, not 7 to 10 years. 1 year there, Andrew. It'll be $1,000 silver very quickly, because once the Titanic's going down and that frenzy happens, that price is going to move like shit through a ghost. No, you won't find it in 7 years, and it won't be $1,000. You don't have that long. So Derek, you buy it before the price is too high and you can't find it. Because again, this is worldwide. We have Pat from Singapore comes into class once in a while. He's telling you it's 6-7 hour lines to go into the gold in Singapore. They have a lot of gold shops. To go in there, you're waiting 6-7 hours just to get to the counter. So you're wrapped around the building, you're number 600, and so it's a 6-hour wait to get your gold and silver, mostly jewelries, but there's a lot of coins and bars. Do not think there's going to be a lot of inventory to buy, and Andrew, there's no way 7 to 10 years. I'd say 500 in a year and 1,000 a year after that. Because once the shit hits the fan and the frenzy happens, which is going to, because people are going to realize their dollar's not worth anything. Once they realize it, once the stock market crashes, you're going to have this mad rush into gold and silver, and that price is just going to go boom, because there won't be any. So, so somebody comes to me, do you want to sell your silver at $58? When I stop laughing, I would say add a 0 to it. At 500, I may think of selling you 1 or 2 ounces because it's too low. My girlfriend keeps saying, well, I need money. Can you sell some gold? I go, it's only 4,200. No, I'll sell gold when it hits 10,000. It's not like, will it hit the 10,000 or will silver hit 1,000? It's when will it hit 1,000? Because the demands is going to keep forcing it up and up and up. So that's where we are with it. Andrew, buy fractional gold, Derek. 1/10 of an ounce gold eagles are the biggest sellers. And that's what he's talking about. This is a 1/10 of an ounce maple leaf. It's still uncirculated, still in its plastic, but I don't care about that. You're buying and buy this. I mean, you're buying gold. Go to a reputable store, make him prove it's real. He'll take a magnet. If it sticks, it's fake. If it passes that, have him go to the machine, and then make sure you can trust the store you're buying it from. And you shouldn't pay sales tax, because this is money. You're just trading money for it. And on the other hand, if you just sell 4 or 5 ounces at a time here and there, there's no 1099. So there's no tax on it. People are worried about, it's tax evasion. That's more the mafia selling drugs and women with cash. And then they make all this money, and then they buy $1 million house, and the government goes, where'd you get the money for the house? And that's how they get you. But we're not doing anything illegal here. We're buying gold and we're selling it. And if we sell an ounce or 2, and we don't get 1099, I'm not going to pay tax on it. I'm not going to worry about it because they'll never know because there's no 1099. But if you sell a lot of gold and then you go buy a house and you don't report income, that will be the red flag. So that's the key, is just, don't be like Scarface. He's got to launder his money. Just bury it in the back. See, if Scarface would have traded his money in for gold, that's how you get away from the laundering, the money laundering. Just buy gold with it. So if I'm Scarface and I get $1 million, I'm walking to my gold store with the $1 million and getting 50 ounces of gold and putting it away. And then there is no money laundering. So that's really the way to do it, I would think. All right. Okay, Derek. Well, I hope you enjoy. Please feel welcome to come back and let me know. This is live, so you can ask questions and comments. That's why I do it like this. But yeah, I mean, you can buy quarter ounce. Quarter ounces are $1,000, 1,100, and that's not unreasonable. The only thing you know for a fact is you're going to get out of the dollars. So it's as many dollars as you have that you want to get out of. So if you have $100,000, you probably want to sell about 95,000 of that to buy gold and silver. And the more dollars you get from working and after your expenses that you can afford, Rumpelstiltskin them, turn them into gold. So it's any dollars. The goal here, the game is, we like games, is to get out of the dollar and buy as much gold and silver as you can. And I would buy more gold first and then the silver. The silver is now 58, on its way to 500. So keep that in mind. You do not profit take gold and silver. I will not allow it. That is the stupidest thing to do. Now, you can maybe sell an ounce or two. I'll let you do that to go on a vacation or you got some bills. But if you got 100 ounces of gold, I'd say 93, 94 the ounces you never sell. The others you sell and go have fun with. But, because if you profit take, let's say you have 20 ounces to profit take. Well, I bought it at 2,000 and now it's 4,200. I'm going to take profit. You're out of your mind because you're back in monopoly money. So they're going to give you this. You don't want that. You're getting out of this. So there is no profit taking. Understood? You can buy a Rolex with it. You can buy a Mantle card with it if you want to, or you can go on a nice vacation to Hawaii or somewhere. That's fine. Sell an ounce, get $4,300, go have fun. That's fine. But if you have 100 ounces, you're keeping 95 of them. And that's it. You keep enough money for your expenses and food and stuff like that. So you don't have to sell the gold to do that. So the goal is keep about 5,000-6,000 and use that if you need to buy your food or groceries or your girlfriend. And then the rest you keep in gold, and you don't want to sell it now because it's too cheap. It's only 4,200. You're waiting for at least 5-digit gold, $10,000. Maybe you sell an ounce or two because you want to buy a Picasso or something. The gold price will go very, very high. The dollar will go out, and you will buy things with the gold and silver. You will go to Kroger's with an ounce of silver and fill your cart, which you cannot do now. You fill your cart, and it's $500. All right, Derek, well, welcome again. Andrew, new subscribe. You talk my language, Teaserking. Andrew, I look at this class as a release for us. I go to the club and I work out and I swim and I hot tub and I sauna. And you try talking to somebody about gold or Austrian economics or inflation, and they don't know it and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to admit that their money in stock is worthless. I was on the bike a while ago, and there was a guy next to me, and we're talking. And I says, well, I'm watching gold go up. And he says, well, I got my money in stocks. I says, I don't have anything. I don't have one share of stock anymore. That's enough of a Ponzi scheme anyway. But I said, I don't have any money. So then at the end, I tell him the stock market's going to crash, and he's got all his money in stocks. And so he goes, well, I guess I'll see you in the soup line. And I told him stone cold, I said, I don't have any stock. I won't be in a soup line. I'll be owning the soup. I won't be in the soup line because I got gold and silver. And the look on it, I think he turned white because he realized I was dead serious, and he realizes he's fucked because he's in this. Most people are in their 401ks. It's worth 400,000 or 500,000, and they're all broke. And my favorite is Warren Buffet, who's got like what, 30 billion dollars in cash. And watching him go broke, I can't wait for that one because he thinks he's so smart, but he doesn't own any gold or silver. Guy's a fucking idiot. Andrew, take care, Derek. Save your family and buy metals. Absolutely, Andrew. Andrew gets it. Ron, when shit hits the fan, who the hell is going to want Mantle cards when they need food? Well, the Mantle card will buy you food and clothes. You got to realize that that's an asset. Assets will buy you anything. Put it this way: there was a movie, it was a little kids movie, and I think it was Sinbad or Ice-T or somebody in it, and he's going and he gets 4 flat tires. So he pulls into the garage, says, "I don't have any money, but I have this Yao Ming rookie card," and it was a nice refractor. And the guy took the card for the 4 tires. The Mantle card is an asset. All right, what if you own Picasso? Okay, or what if you own a $100,000 Rolex? Let's go there. When shit hits the fan, who the hell is gonna want Mantle cards when they need food and clothes? Well, if I can trade the Mantle card for whatever the cash is, or for the gold and silver, that's the point of it. It's not the Mantle card per se is going to get you 4 tires, like I just said. It's the Mantle card's an asset. Gold and silver are assets. The Rolex is an asset. It will have value. Now, when the dollar goes out, it's up to the government to give us a medium of exchange, which means we get paid in whatever right now it's dollars, but it's going to be dollars backed by gold. What the government's doing is they're fucking up the medium of exchange, not the financial system. People say the financial system's not in trouble. The medium of exchange is. So using the dollar to get paid to buy things, we're the market, right? You got to give us something that we can use to buy tuna fish and chocolate chip cookies. And by owning a Mantle card, you can trade it in for gold and silver. So if I have a lot of gold and you got a Mantle card, yeah, I'll give you a tenth of an ounce of gold for $100,000 Mantle card, and then you have the gold. You can use the Mantle card to buy that, and then you simply get the food and clothes. I mean, what are you going to use, right? If the dollar's worthless, but the gold will keep it. That's the point. The gold and the silver will always hold value, and it will always go up in value as the dollar drops. But in no way is the dollar going down. The dollar's out. The dollar's worthless. So it's bullshit that the dollar's going down. It's not gold and silver going up. It is gold and silver going up. It's the demand of gold and silver that is raising the prices. Because when in 2010 or 19, let's say 2001, well, gold was $200 an ounce because there was no demand for it. And then when Bitcoin came, everybody's running into Bitcoin. See, everybody wants to get out of the dollar. They just chose Bitcoin. They should have chose gold. When gold hits 100,000 and they're in Bitcoin worth nothing, then we'll hear it. But that's the idea, Ron. It's the assets. So let's say you own a Picasso now. Do you not want to own it? You don't want to sell it for this, right? So if you have a Picasso, the only reason you're selling it for this is to go buy gold and silver. So in effect, you really want to sell your Picasso for gold and silver. And that is what you're going to be using to buy food and clothes is the gold and silver. And that'll probably go on your credit card. So you'll put that in your bank, and the bank will switch credit cards to gold and silver. And then you go to Kroger's and everything will be priced for gold and silver. And you'll use your credit card the way you do now. Instead of Monopoly money, you'll have gold and silver. But if you have an asset, I'll still want to buy a Mantle card with my gold and silver like I do now. I could buy a Mantle card with my gold and silver, but the gold hasn't gone up yet. It's only 4,200. And the real value of the Mantle has got to come down because everything's valued in fake Monopoly money. So all these billionaires are just bullshit. They're not really worth things that are, what was it? Some baseball team or football, the Toronto Blue Jays or something, the Dodgers are worth all this money. But it's monopoly money. People don't understand that. All these quarterbacks getting 40, $50 million contracts, it's monopoly money. Bobby getting his $1 million a year from the New York Mets. I told him to ask the Mets to pay him in gold, pay the million in gold, and they wouldn't do it. So when he gets the million, I tell him, turn around and buy as much gold and silver with it as you can. You don't want to hold the dollars because they're not worth anything. So all these people with these big contracts, they're really getting nothing. All these companies really don't have anything. They're really all worthless, but they don't know it yet. Because like on the Titanic, you have to actually see the boat sinking. As the boat's going under the water, they're finally realizing the boat's going to sink. Well, when it hit the iceberg, the boat was going to sink. What part of that did you not get? So you should have been in the lifeboat as soon as the iceberg hit. You should have been in the lifeboat. And you don't get out of the lifeboat. You don't sell your gold and silver for anything to get back into the dollars unless it's a trip or some bill that you need. You don't have the money, but you have the gold and silver, so you use it like that. That's it. Get out of the stock market. I'm listening to retirement planning shows. What a bunch of idiots. Oh, well, we'll put you in stocks and you're going to use the stock value will go up and that's how you're going to retire. And I'm like, oh my God, people are actually listening to this moron. Okay, so I'm retired. I'm in Apple stock and I'm going to use that to live the next 30 years. And oh, wait, it crashed. Oh, it's not worth anything. How am I going to retire? Look, why didn't you put me in gold and silver, you idiot? No, you're in stocks. Well, if the stock market crashes, he made a comment. Well, if it does crash, it always comes back up. Not this time. No, it's not coming back up. Don't fool yourself. So get out of the paper. Get out of the just you don't want to be in I'm too late to buy physical gold, unfortunately. No, you're not there. You must have missed that one. No, I think that was pointed out. This is $500 and this will go to 2,000, or you can buy a quarter ounce of gold for 1,100. That's going to 10,000. So you're not too late. It all is your situation, what you can afford to Rumpelstiltskin into gold and silver. So yeah, Ron, your Mantle card will buy you food and clothes, but you're gonna have to turn it into gold and silver. But you'd rather have the Mantle card that's worth $100,000 of gold-backed currency. The beauty of the Mantle card or the Rolex is they hold their value. So, like I said, if I have all this gold and the gold's worth 100,000, I'll use 1 ounce of gold to buy your Mantle card because I like it. There's still a demand. As long as there's demand for Mantle, and there'll always be demand for Mantle or Lou Gehrig or DiMaggio or any of these guys, there'll always be demand. So therefore, you'll be fine. Don't think they just need to replace the dollar with a gold-backed dollar. That's all that needs to happen. And the financial system is fine. The system's perfect. You go to work, you make money, and then you decide what you want to buy in the market. Just like the Appian Way in Rome. They took all the gold and silver out, and then people wouldn't take the gold and silver because it wasn't gold and silver. And that's when you got to the Dark Ages because you took away the money and you didn't replace it. So there has to be a medium of exchange. That's the problem. If we don't have one, we're fucked. So if Trump doesn't come out with a new dollar backed by gold or backed by something or silver, then we're fucked. But hopefully he will. Hopefully they're buying it. I hear people say they're buying a bunch of silver. They got to pay the paper contracts. That's why they're buying it. Because COMEX, you have to deliver, and you don't have it. So you have to buy it to deliver it. All right, Andrew. In 1923, Weimar Germany, 25 ounces of gold could buy a commercial block of real estate in Berlin. Exactly. And I use that a lot, that example. But look what happened in 1923. They were using the Reichsmark, and that's when you needed the wheelbarrow because they printed it to death because they were trying to pay off World War I debt, which they never should have. They weren't like the only loser in the war, and why should they have to pay it off? That was bullshit. That's what created Hitler, and that was they were pretty pissed off from the Treaty of Versailles saying they have to pay the war debt, and so they hyperinflated their money. The only thing they saved them for the time being was they went to the Deutschmark, and so everything kind of settled down. But you're right; you could with a couple ounces of gold. Gold was $20 an ounce. You could buy a nice house, a nice mansion with 5 ounces of gold because the price went down from maybe 100,000 to 1,000 or 100. So let's say it went from $2,000 for this beautiful mansion to now 100. 5 ounces of gold bought you the nice house. That's what's going to happen here because the prices are in dollars. So the $500,000 house that's priced in monopoly money, my house is worth 500,000. In this goes to zero. You know what the value of your house goes to? Zero. So now what do? See, that's why you got to be in gold and silver. People think real estate's not an answer. Anything priced in dollars, you must get out of stocks, bonds, real estate trust, even your house and your car. You don't get out of them, but they really will hold no value. Anything in dollars goes to zero. Bitcoin, zero. Only gold and silver will keep the value because we need some money, and that's the most popular money, and it's limited. You can't print it. So the faith and trust is in that because they know, well, you're printing this to death. Did you not watch the Roman Empire or Germany that printed to death and went bankrupt? Are you out of your fucking minds? And this is what we're doing. You've got to come out with a replacement. If Trump thinks that stable coins is a replacement for the dollar, he's out of his mind. The real culprit in this is George Soros. He's causing these wars. He wants to bankrupt the U.S. because he's shorting the U.S. And this Scott Simpson, the Treasury Secretary, is a Soros employee. So, of course, he's doing all to make George Soros another billion. However, because it'll be in dollars, it won't have a value. He's probably smart enough to buy gold because he's a Nazi and he saw the gold. So when Hitler takes over in 1933, they came out with these bonds, 5-year bonds, 1934, to get the military going, the manufacturing, the cars, the planes, the trucks, the weapons, the bullets, the uniforms, all that. They used bonds for that. There were 5 years. That's why war started in 1939. All these came due, and he had no money. They were bankrupt from the hyperinflation. So even though they changed the Deutschmark, it was not backed by anything. It had no value. So Hitler's blitzkrieg was simply, I'm going into Czechoslovakia to go to their central bank and steal their gold. I'm going to go into Poland and steal their gold. I'm going into Brussels, Austria. I'm going into all these countries to steal their gold because we're broke. That's why the blitzkrieg. That's why he did it. He went to Russia to get their oil because Germany has no natural resources. So there's no oil there. There's no gold there. So if you notice, it's a lot in Russia has most of that. So to invade Russia, you got to be nuts. That's why I was in North Africa, was to try to get the oil from the Saudis, right? So it was a lot of that, but the U.S. didn't want to give up the oil, so they were helping. That's what World War II is about. So Hitler goes in to the central banks to steal the gold. That's World War II in a nutshell. So if you have an army backing you, it's easier to steal it. And he had he ended up with a lot of gold and silver that nobody wanted. So he would trade with Switzerland. So he'd give them the gold and they would refurbish it and call it Swiss gold or whatever. So you didn't know it was Nazi gold. And then he could buy materials with the gold because everybody wanted the gold. And that's what happened. So Hitler's blitzkrieg was nothing more than going into the central banks to steal all of it. Well, 102 years ago, it doesn't matter. It's again, this is what happens when you print it to death. This is what the Romans took all their gold and silver. They debased the currency. The only debasement is debasing the coins. We are not debasing the dollar. We are inflating the dollar. We are printing the dollar. I love when people call it the basement. No, you're not fucking debasing it. You're not taking the basement would be to take the gold out of this coin is the basement. It's taking the gold and silver out of the coins. That's it. There is no metal in this. You can't debase this. You can inflate it. You can't debase it. So every time I hear a guy say debasing the currency, they're out of their minds. And inflation is not prices going up. Inflation is inflating the supply of money by printing the fuck out of it, making it worthless. Andrew, only 4% of Bank of America clients own physical gold and silver, not even half of 1%. The underallocation of people in metals is staggering. Well, we don't know that. We know what the portfolio of the bank is, but let's say me and you went and we just picked up 20 ounces of gold, so it's not in my portfolio. My portfolio is 99% gold and silver, diversified by Cougar Rams, Maple Leafs, and U.S. And I have the final 1% in baseball cards. Mantle, Mays, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, a beautiful Walter Payton rookie that is beautiful. That is worth a ton. I just got to get some of my cards graded, but I can tell I know how to grade cards. It's beautiful. The Rice rookie, things like that. Basically, that's my portfolio. 0 in stock, 0 in bonds, 0 in real estate. I'm only in real assets. And that's what everybody should be in. It's the Ponzi scheme that they get you into stocks. And the goal is not to let you out. Right? So you're in GM, and then you go into Coke, and then you go into Disney, and then you go into Apple, and then Amazon, but you never take your money. You never made a penny. I always say, and I'm a gambler, so I go to the casinos and I play poker. And the object is if I go with $1,000 to play craps and I'm up $2,000, put the money in my pocket and play a little bit more, but walk out a winner. But you can't do that in the stock market because how many people okay, I made 20 grand on Apple or Tesla or whatever, and I'm going to take my money out. Nobody does that. So your money's still in the system, and the system's in dollars, and the system's worthless, but you're still in it. You're fucked, but you don't realize you're fucked. So that's why the only stocks I had was gold stocks. Like I said, I had 1,000 shares of Newmont Mining, and I would buy it every morning when the 10 o'clock drop happened. I would wait till it started coming up, and then I'd buy about 10:30, 10:45, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it would have went up 60, 70 cents, and I'd sell it every day. 70 cents times 1,000 shares is $700. That was a nice job. 700, sometimes 500, sometimes 2,000, sometimes 20. Sometimes it would go down, and I'd have to wait a few days till it went back up. That's the only way to play stocks. And it was foolproof because the 10 o'clock drop's going to happen every day. 99 times out of 100, there'd be one day that the 10 o'clock would go up instead of down. And I just simply didn't buy it that day. But anytime it did the normal 10 o'clock and came up, I bought like clockwork every day. And I'd be content with 50, 75 cents on 1,000 shares, 500, 600, 700 a day. You do the math. And then I Rumpelstiltskin that. I took that out, and then I bought gold and silver physical with it. So then I bought this. But don't think you've missed the boat. Gold and silver, like I said, gold's going to be 10,000 an ounce. So you buy it at $4, you're fine. It's just how much money do you have that you can afford to buy the gold and the silver. Now, if you can't, buy the silver. And that's why silver is going up, because people miss the $2,000 gold. They're buying it at $4,200, so it's $4,400. Little expensive. Maybe you buy a half ounce or a quarter ounce. And then you go, I'll buy 10 ounces, 20 ounces of silver. I used to buy that for it was $25. So I'd get the 20 ounce tube. So 25 times 20 would be like $500. And now it's like I was in the store Friday, and it's like I used to buy like 10 ounces for $300. Now I for $300 I get 6. So, like I said, I bought as much as I can, uh, and now it's just relax and lay on a beach for a while. But it's hard to say. The Bank of America customers, are they keeping in mind their Picassos, their Rolexes, their Mantle cards, or just what's at the bank, which is stocks and bonds? They're gonna bankrupt all their customers, just like this retirement show. They're gonna bankrupt all their customers. They're gonna get sued, but they probably won't have any money. It's amazing how blind they are to gold and silver. They just don't want to admit it. I know the problem with your financial planner is he doesn't get commission on gold and silver. He'll never put you in it. Maybe he'll buy you a gold and silver stock, which you don't want, or a gold and silver ETF, which you don't want, because you won't get physical. So Sprott's taking 1 ounce and dividing it by 1,000 people. So 1,000 people think they own the ounce of gold. At the end of the day, nobody's getting it. So you think in an ETF that you own gold, you don't. He cons you by thinking, oh, this is the physical price of gold. It's not. That's how he's developing the price for the ETF, but you don't own the gold or the silver. Don't be an ETF. Buy the fucking physical. It's the only way, and it's a lot of fun when you put it in your bed and you roll around in it. When you got a lot of gold, silver, it's much better. Andrew, Sailor advocating the U.S. sell their gold and buy Bitcoin. It's the craziest thing I ever heard. Bitcoin is digital air. It's because he owns it, and he wants to make money on it. So if he says to buy it, then the price goes up. But if he doesn't say to buy it, the price won't go up. And we're seeing the real happening as it's dropping. It's not real. It's Madoff, basically. It's Madoff on Bitcoin instead of Madoff just, I'll give you, the interesting thing about Madoff is he actually paid, from what I can tell, listening to Netflix or YouTube videos, the people actually got paid that 15% every month or whatever, annually 15%. He did get paid it. They would have the statements. So the guy who gave him $1 million was actually getting 15% a month. Some ladies were retiring going, I'm going to get the Madoff money. So it's a strange Ponzi scheme because he actually paid all the people. He'd get all these funds from Europe and some of these others, and JP Morgan. JP Morgan was in on it. Such bullshit. So JP Morgan can be in a Ponzi scheme and price fix gold, and hey, Jamie Dimon serves no prison time. Is he the head of the mafia? Yeah, exactly. How can he get away with all these Ponzi schemes and not do it? But the interesting part was that he didn't, in the Ponzi scheme, he did pay the people. Normally you don't get paid. That's the problem. Like when Ponzi did it, whether it was 1919 or 20, he would say, I'm going to give you a 50% return, and people would give him the money and he'd steal it. And then he'd get more money in and he'd start paying the early people out, but he would take his chunk of it. And that's what Madoff did. Madoff would take his chunk, but still paid the people their 15%. Problem is, you got the Russian mafia involved, and that's why he went to jail. Otherwise, they'd have killed his family, because that's what the Russian mafia do. But he did pay the people. So for years, for 10, 20 years, if you're in Madoff, you're getting your 15% a year paid off. So it's a weird Ponzi scheme because he actually paid people. And then I don't know why in 2007, he just didn't close it up saying, well, we're caught up in this 2007 market crash. The investments are no good. I don't have any more money, and just quit it. And I guess to do that, he would have had to pay the people their balances, and he didn't have the money to pay it out, I guess. So at the end of the day, he couldn't just quit it, but he should have saw it come. If he was that clever, he should have saw the housing market crisis happen and just kind of close it up. But he didn't do that. I mean, look at all these banks. They fucked over their people. Look at my Attack on Wall Street movie. The guy loses 60,000. He deletes the real estate trust. He just deletes it. Well, why didn't Madoff just do that? But I saw it coming in 1997, the housing crash. because Clinton came out with this bill that said everybody gets a house. What if they have no credit? Well, they still get out. What if they're not working? You got to give it to them. And they would go after the banks who refused to give the houses. So that's the problem. And I saw that. As soon as I saw that, I knew what was happening. Again, I'm a very critical thinker and I am 5 steps ahead. So I see what's going on. And so, like I said, if we hit an iceberg in the water, the boat's going to, I don't need this to be 90% down to realize the boat's going to sink. The boat's going to sink when the iceberg hits. And that's the way I think. So as soon as Clinton did that, you knew this was going to happen. And I thought about real estate trust a little bit. I graduated in 1995 with a master's in corporate finance and a minor in Austrian economics. So I knew what was going to happen. And I knew to buy gold way back then. But I bought a lot of baseball cards because my ex, we kept going to card shows and we did that. And I really wanted to buy gold instead. But fortunately, I was smart enough to buy Mantle cards and Mays cards and Brady rookies and Walter Payton rookies. And they're worth a lot more than the gold would have been at this point, knowing that gold's going to go to the moon. Shotante. What about Shotante? I don't know what that means, Andrew. What explain the Shotante? Or are you saying he's getting all this money, but it's worthless, and he probably won't know what to buy gold? I don't think that the Japanese are intelligent at all. So yeah, all these baseball players are going to go broke. Bobby will be the only one. Bobby Bowe, who's in our class, will be the only one because he listened to me. He stumbled onto me, and you buy gold and silver. And see, it's real money and it's real assets and it's very limited and it's highly demanded. It's the perfect thing to buy. Probably like a Picasso. It's highly demanded. It's very limited. The guy, unfortunately, he's dead. Or the Van Gogh that I got over here. That's a poster Van Gogh, but the idea. And the Van Goghs, they're all worth a fortune. There's high demand and there's very low supply, especially an original. That's why the art's so expensive, so valuable. All right. I was going to touch on, let's look at what gold's doing. I did want to touch on college setup this week. See, but I'm very, very good at switching topics, following the market. If the market wants to hear about gold, then we give them gold. That's the key to business. Listen to your market, price at what the market will bear. I don't like Vegas. All of a sudden, overpricing, thinking they have a market for food, for liquor, for resort fees, for parking. No, you don't have. There's no market for that. All you're doing is chasing the guests away, so nobody's playing slot machines and nobody's eating and drinking or shopping at your casinos. Getting the people. So imagine we had a store, right? We're selling baseball cards. We want customers to come to the store. We don't want people not to come into the store. We don't want to charge so much. Well, I know it's a $10,000 Mantle card, but we're going to sell it for 50. We don't want that. We want to sell more. We want to give the market what they want. But you got to learn and understand your market. I mean, that's the key to that. Andrew, Ohtani rookie card. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're worth, but yeah, I mean that's highly demanded, I would assume. I don't know the price. I don't really like him, so I'm not going to get his rookie card. But I've eaten enough of the Montana and the Rice rookie cards and the Walter Payton that I'm fine. All right, let's look at next week. We got Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State. I haven't updated my thing. Let's take a look. For some reason, this doesn't include Kennesaw State. Let's see what we get next week. We got Kennesaw State minus 1.5, 59.5. Let's use this one. We've got James Madison 22, 47.5 to Troy. We've got North Texas. This is surprising. 2.5, 66.5 to Tulane. Tulane's the A team, 24 rated. I don't know where the American Athletic Conference Championship, where it's at. I mean, it doesn't really help me. So I'm not sure if it's at Tulane or at Carolina's stadium, where the Panthers play. But I would have thought Tulane would have been favorite there. So North Texas is a great team. Boise, 3.5, 58.5 to Vegas. And I think that's in Vegas. I don't know. I got to read where that's at. Texas Tech, 13.5 and 50.5 to BYU. I wouldn't take BYU. Maybe you go with the total, but you cannot fuck with Texas Tech. Texas Tech, to me, is the number one team. Western Michigan, 2.5, 43.5 to Miami of Ohio, who beat Ohio and Toledo out. We got Georgia and Alabama. And amazingly, Georgia's 2.5, 47.5. How can Georgia, now this is probably at the Mercedes Dome or whatever they call the Georgia Dome now. How is Georgia favored? It's unbelievable. They never can beat Alabama, right? They lose to Alabama, but they are favored by 2.5. This will be a war, as we know. Duke and Virginia, 3.5. 57.5 to Duke. And the game of the day, this is wild. Indiana, Ohio State, 5.5, 48.5 to Indiana. What do you do with this game? I mean, you got a 7 defense against an 11 defense. This will be a tough one. I don't know if I like Indiana in 11.5, and I don't know that I like Ohio State even in the game. This is where you need a teaser, but it's a toughie because how good's Indiana? Well, they went to Oregon and won. How good's Ohio State? Don't know. They beat Texas week 1. They beat a Michigan team who couldn't tackle them. And they went to Washington and won, which Oregon did. They didn't play Oregon, didn't play Indiana. I don't think they played Iowa. They played like Purdue, and the biggest game they won was Penn State, who sucked. Michigan, who was or they didn't play Oregon or Indiana or USC. So it was a weird schedule for Ohio State. I really don't know. The game's in Indianapolis, as we know, so it's a neutral. Andrew, have a good day, Andrew. Nice to see you. Welcome to our class, and feel free to come. And, this is what I like is these questions and comments, then I can react to you versus me just doing my own thesis and not, by getting feedback, you can take me like you did into gold. And we've talked about Germany before, and 19, it's 100 years ago, but it's happened a lot. The whole wheelbarrow thing happened in Zimbabwe, happened in Venezuela, happened in Sri Lanka, happened in Pakistan, Argentina. There's a lot of countries that have gone broke. All of them will, because they're in paper, not backed by anything. The key is, if you don't back your paper with gold or silver, it's worthless from the beginning. The U.S. dollar has been worthless since 1971. Not now. It's always been worthless, but people didn't realize it because it was backed by gold, and they don't understand it. They don't teach Austrian economics in school, so nobody knows to get out of the dollar and to go to gold, and that's set up by Wall Street, where they want you in stocks and bonds and real estate trusts, and they make all the commissions. And that's the problem. And then they screw everybody because they run the government. Don't be fooled. Wall Street, the banks, the mafia runs the banks, Jamie Dimon, and then the banks run the government, and the government does whatever they get paid. And they get paid by the defense contractors who the banks run. And it's all that. That's why you have all these wars. You have wars for two reasons. A, you're collapsing. That's not the reason. That's why you go to war, because you're broke. And so you go to war either A, to do what Hitler did and steal the gold from all the central banks, or B, to try to sell weapons. Like all these countries are going to buy your weapons. So try to make sales. That's why there's been road construction on every fucking street here in Detroit, and I'm sure everywhere else. And it's all because the Keynesians think that government spending will get you out of the bankruptcy, which it won't. The CIA believes wars will get you out of the bankruptcy because people will buy their weapons, but they won't, because nobody can afford the weapons. And if we buy our own weapons, we have to print the money to pay it. It doesn't do anything. So that's what's going on. Let's check our gold price, as we love to do at the end. It's 144. All right. So silver is 58.56, holding nicely. I wasn't sure what we'd get today, if they were actually going to, try to do massive shorting, but that would have made no sense because they wouldn't have been able to cover 58.59. And gold, 42.40. So gold, why did it drop from 42.65 to 42.20? Why did it drop $40? Because it's bullshit. That's why I tell you physical, this is paper gold, right? This is options. That's why I tell you physical gold is 10 times this, because it would never drop. The demand for gold is so high now, why would it ever drop? The only reason something drops, so we're 42.40. The only reason something drops is if there's no demand for it. So if we go into the grocery store and we want a steak and the New York strip's $20, and we go, nah, I'm not paying $20 for New York strip. So that you've killed the demand because you've priced it too high. So there's no demand. What happens? The price comes down, and as it was $13 for New York strip. Demand peaks back up because the market's right about $13, $14. So the market goes to, so all of a sudden they put it on sale, which is really pricing the market, and then you go buy it. But that's the only reason that the price drops, is there's no demand. So the price drops. And what we're getting now is huge demand for gold. You would never see the price drop because there's always demand for it. You can see the demand for gold. So that's the key to it. So there is demand for gold, and that's where we're at. So the gold would never go down. Only in this COMEX fantasy that we live in is gold going down. I see silver 58.58. We'll see $60 silver by the end of the week, on its way to 100. I mean, people that try to call it, and I hate these YouTubes where, here's the secrets. This is what Russia's going to do, or on this date, this price is going to be this and that. That's all bullshit. That's to get you to click on it, and they never tell you anything. It's all bullshit. Don't waste your time on that shit. Anyway, that's it. So really a huge week. 12-3 in college. I believe I'm 8-3 in the pros with tonight's game, and I'm giving you New England over 46 down to 40. So it's just, we need the game in the 20s. New England scores. The Giants just score a lot with the 32 defense. The weather shouldn't be too bad. Let's take a look at the weather. And the weather tonight is 28 degrees, slight chance of snow and no wind, 3-mile-an-hour winds. So it's a little cold there. Cold I can live with, wind I can't. A lot of wind in the Cleveland game, San Francisco. That's why it was a lock under using the weather. You put that into a formula, good luck. So that's that. So we'll start bringing in our stats from college to update this week's games. And then we'll have a bowl service. I normally charge $100 for all the bowl games. And $100 for the playoff games. Now that the playoffs 14 games or 14 to 12 teams, so we'll have all the college playoff games broken down, and so this is the division champ. This should be like Georgia, Alabama. The winners should be in the playoff, the loser out, but that's not the way it works. They'll both be in the playoff for some reason. Virginia, if they win, should be in, or Duke. Ohio State, Indiana, the winners should be in, the loser out. Texas Tech, BYU. But what will happen is Alabama and Georgia will be in. Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon will be in. Texas Tech beats BYU, and BYU gets fucked. They're not in, even though they're a very good team, as is Utah. All of a sudden, Ole Miss gets in. Vanderbilt gets in. Oklahoma gets in because why? Right? Well, they're in the SEC, so they should get in. So anyway, we do both here, sports and the economics. So I am bred in Austrian economics, and that's what I do. So very strong in both subjects, obviously. As you hear, if you want, go back into prior videos. I've been on 15 years here, and the videos are there. You can see them. The economic ones I labeled pretty much like, what is inflation? Printing the money to death, inflating the supply of money, pure and simple, which makes it worth nothing, which is why you buy gold and silver. But gold is demand. All assets go up based on demand. If there was no demand for gold and silver, it wouldn't be going up because the dollar's going down. It's going up because of the demand for it. Now, is the demand stronger because the dollar's going up? Probably, but that's not how you get the price. The price is done by demand, by the market. The market wants it, price goes up because it's limited. So when gold hits 10,000, is that the dollar going down? No, I'm sorry, Alistair McLeod, you're out of your fucking mind. That is not going up. The gold isn't going up because the dollar's going out. Gold's going up because of the fucking demand for it. Everybody wants it. Now, it's partly because they don't want to hold dollars because they know the dollar's worthless. I've been calling for $10,000 gold 5 years ago, and everybody laughed at me. They didn't like me. But now they understand I was right, as gold's down 4,200 on its way to 10,000. Well, it's really on its way to 50,000, but we'll keep it 5 to 7, 7,500 to 10 to 15 to 20. The faster it goes up, the more people start realizing they need to own it. Like our guy here, Derek, now he needs to own it. And off you go. And again, if you sell an ounce or two, there's no tag. There's no 1099 on it. At least at this point, we'll see if the rules change. But I know there's no 1099. Selling 1 or 2 ounces, you're not 1099. Now, when it hits 20,000 an ounce, we'll get 1099. I don't know. All I can tell you is what it is today, and it's not. But put it this way: the longer you hold this, AKA in stocks, in Bitcoin, in real estate trust, the longer you hold this, the less it's worth. The value is dropped. There is no value. It's worthless. So the longer you hold it, you're dealing with that. And the more expensive gold and silver is getting. You can see silver's 58.5, soon 60, soon 75, soon 100. So by waiting, not only is there no inventory, but it's getting more and more expensive to Rumpelstiltskin your paper into gold and silver. So be cautious of that. Otherwise, it's all bricks. They're going to a gold back system because they know the dollar's worthless. Trump or Putin said that. He says it's like a Snickers bar. It's not worth anything. He gave it away when he did that. And that was like last year or something. But I knew the dollar was worthless when Biden said, "Hey, let's print 7 trillion because of COVID and we'll hand it out." As soon as he said that, I got more into gold and silver. So I was in it a little back in the net when I graduated in '95. I was buying some gold, not a lot of silver because it was so cheap. I said, yeah, this ain't gonna move. I'll just buy gold. And I remember I could buy this 1995 or six. I bought this PSA or MS 70 for $35. $35, but it's not the PS 70 that's any good. It's that it's the tenth of an ounce of it's the value of the gold going up, not the MS 70. So don't waste your time on graded or collectible gold and silver. Just buy the gold and silver. Just buy your Maple Leafs, your Cougar Rans, your Eagles, your Philharmonics. We all love those. And the same in silver. Just buy. Junk silver, I would avoid. It's 90% proof, but you don't know that it's silver. When I buy a 999 silver, one of these silver buffaloes that are, they're not the money, they're not the $1, but they're the thing. When I buy those, I could give you that, and you'd look at it, and you'd see 999 silver, and you take the magnet to it, and it wouldn't stick, and you go, okay, I'll pay you for it. But this junk, I don't know, except for the Liberty dimes or Mercury dimes. I don't know what quarter is silver or not. And then how much silver is it? It's 90, I guess it's 0.90, not 999. I know there's that Kennedy hat. I know 1964. So if it says 1963, I'm pretty sure it's silver, but I'm not sure. And it's not pure 999. So I don't know what it's worth. I know what pure is. So I'd rather, instead of wasting time on junk silver, I'd be buying the Eagles and the Buffaloes and the bullion silver just to get, because all I want is an ounce of silver. The other thing is apparently there's a big backlog at the refinery. So what happens is people don't understand that it's not anywhere close to where it's headed. It's headed to $1,000 an ounce. It's 50. So people are selling because it's the all-time high. They don't know it's paper all-time high, and we're talking physical. So they're taking their silverware and their jewelry, and they're trading it in, and they're getting maybe $50 an ounce for it. And the problem is the refiner has so much of it. It's like taking weeks to refine it. So what the refiner does is they take your jewelry, they take your silverware, they melt it back, and then they make more coins out of it. And to do that, they charge the dealers so that more because of the backlog, and then the dealers that. But it's really in the silverware and the jewelry. It's not really if you take an ounce in, but that's where it's gone down. So I don't like the term junk silver. It's sterling silver to me. It's all silver, but I would prefer to own the Eagles or the bullion Buffaloes. Anything that's 999 pure silver, 1 ounce. Make sure it says that, and that's what I'd be buying. And there you go. So that's the key to it. I remember I just bought my hairdresser. She gave me $100, and I got her 3.5 ounces not too long ago, a few months ago. It was 30 something. It might have been 30 an ounce. So I got her 3.5 ounces for the $100. So now she's almost doubled her money at that time. Well, it's now 60, or it'll be 60 soon. So anyway, keep that in mind. All you're doing is getting out of something worthless for something of great value. That's highly in demand and very limited in supply, the physical. Do not own bullshit. Stay out of ETFs, they're a Ponzi scheme. Stay out of gold stocks, because China's buying all the inventory anyway. So when the gold goes up, your stock mine's not going to have any inventory to sell. So I know it's the value of the gold times your inventory. But if your inventory is zero, it doesn't matter how much the value goes. Just buy physical. Keep it simple. Put it in a safe place. Do not put it in a safety deposit box because if it's run by the bank, you won't be able to get it. So buy a nice safe. Put that into a nice safe place. Depending on what you have, I think you're fine. Egon's talking like if you have, 50 bars of it. I mean, but I wouldn't send my gold to Egon if I have 100 ounces because, you need some of it here just in case you need to fly to Switzerland to get it. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe he just sells you some. Oh, I need 10 ounce. Can you give me 10 ounces and wire it to me in cash? Maybe he does that. But again, the key is going to be what's the new cash. And we have to replace this because this is worthless. I love how they say confidence in it. Who has confidence in our government? They're screwing us right and left. They're trying to shove Bitcoin and stablecoin down their throat. You got a guy like Trump who takes us to war. You really trust these guys? They were responsible for 9/11 was the Israelis did it. And that's how they control the US government is because they stole the gold and now they're buying the Congress and the Senate is all run by the Israelis. That's a great government. Yeah, I really trust them. They don't care about us. They fucked up. They just been stealing our money. A lot of insider trading, and I doubt there's gold in Fort Knox. And you got George Soros. It's bad news. Just do not trust the government. They are not our friends. They are very corrupt, and they're just in there for themselves. So it's an embarrassment. And that's about it. So have a good day. I will see you tomorrow. I hope so. Again, my internet's supposed to be interrupted, but so far it isn't. So maybe it's only for a little bit in this window. We'll see. When it happens, I'll go work out at the pool. Anyway, www.teaserking.com. We'll see what happens, but get that. There's 2 games to get in there. Get Dallas and then get the Tampa Bay before it hits 9. But we'll check injuries first. All right, www.teaserking.com. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your questions and comments. It's very good. That's the idea, is to teach you. I am the professor teaching you about especially Austrian economics and then football, and stop using these stupid algorithms. They don't work. All right, take care, everybody. Oh, I didn't take my picture. Okay. All right. Sorry, I had to take my picture.